I'm waiting for you to say something.
Season's greetings. Oh, no, it's not Christmas yet. It isn't Christmas.
How you doing, guys? Ed, I'm not expecting a big crowd in today because the Grand Prix is on today. And look, I'm surprised this guy's here. Where is he? There. McLaren F1 race. Clive. He's a big into his Grand Prix, like you said.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. To be honest, I don't actually watch terrestrial TV, but I must admit that is something. I don't watch too much Grand Prix either, but there's something about the Monaco Grand Prix. It's something, something exotic. You tend to think of those South of France movies you watched when you were a kid. Tony Curtis driving his Ferrari, to the South of France, that sort of thing. It's got a bit of a magic, the Monaco Grand Prix. I wouldn't mind watching that, to be honest with you. But
we're lucky to have you here today because you nearly choked to death this morning. Tell everyone that story you just told me off camera. It's a solo stream, guys.
It's not for the first time, actually. I almost choked on a bowl of crunchy nut cornflakes. They are bloody good. They're absolutely lovely, they're crunchy nut cornflakes. But I haven't had them for a very long time. But I bought a box of them, and I've had some lovely bowls. It was very refreshing. And I was eating one, and I almost choked to death when some of the crunchy nut cornflakes went down the wrong way. But then my mind cashed back. I remember I've done that before with cornflakes. It does happen. You do have to be careful when you're eating them. Beware of the crunchy nut cornflakes, everybody. Beware.
Yeah, and you did say you were hungover. Just say thank you to Brian Street there, straight in with a super chat. Afternoon tea and crumpets, absolutely. No alcohol for me in the daytime, Brian. I don't drink whatsoever in the day, so I'm not going to get carried away. Shall we say hello to a few people, Ed?
Absolutely.
Go on then.
well, hello to everybody. Let's see. I can see the comments. Some of the people here. Damon's there. Nice to hear from you. Dutch Farang. Well, very, very familiar. Danish bacon. Nice to hear from you, mate. Nice.
He's everywhere. He's in every stream.
Absolutely. Who else? Lost in Australia. Never heard of it, but that's nice to hear from you. Nomad overseas. Let's see. El Terrifico, Fred Flintstone. Has Eddie rolled out of bed yet? Yeah, I'm here. I am here. I spent it all last night, by the way, uploading the video overnight because my Wi-Fi is so slow. I've got to get it replaced. It's reliable.
Your streams come across all right. I mean, you don't have any issues with them. I had a big issue with my internet for about 3 or 4 weeks. I'll be talking, I'd have 300 people in the stream, and I'd just lose it because I was using a wireless router. But I've actually solved the problem now. I've ran a 40-foot Cat 6 cable from my house all the way down my garden to my shed where I operate from, brick building actually. But it solved it. But you don't. When I watch your live streams, I'm off. I was in last night. You see me in there last night. You didn't cut out or anything, so it can't be that bad.
Well, that's interesting because I think when I do a live stream, it always looks pretty good to me. But there are some people who say, Ed, you're cutting out. Your live stream. So maybe the internet's at their end.
Have you got a secondary monitor that you look at? Like I've got the YouTube set up here with a camera, and I've got a monitor here, which is what everybody's seeing. So if the picture does go bad for everybody who's watching, I can see it on this screen. Do you have that or not?
I don't actually have that. I have 2 laptops in this room, but what I've found, if I switch the 2 laptops on at the same time, it causes problems, you see. So I just use this one really. But when I play them back, they look okay.
Yeah. Well, they always seem to be fine to me. Let's see who else is in. Let me say hello to a few people. I think you said hi to Damien. Afternoon, Mr. Peter and Mr. Ed. All is well. Pesky McNuggets, how you doing? Leeds, good afternoon, Peter and Eddie. Javier Lopez, good to have you, mate. Good afternoon, Peter and Eddie. Double live stream. Yep. We're sober today, guys. Sober. Lost in Australia. Hello, Peter and Ed. Hello from Perth, Western Australia. We seem to have a lot of the same sort of people in each other's stream, don't we, by the looks of it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll notice Ed Sweeney's 20-stone wife is back in England, is here. So what? So this is he's even got the the dialogue from my wife. So this is what you're up to. Won't see you for another 5 hours. Come back to bed. My 20-stone wife is angry.
Yeah, yeah. So if you've just joined us, we've got over 100 and nearly 150 in now. So like I said, we're not expecting huge numbers right now because the Grand Prix is on. It wasn't the best day to start it, but we'll carry on. We'll get on with it, and we'll see how it goes. Hi to Andrew Hammond. Good afternoon, Peter and Eddie. The Monaco Grand Prix has just been delayed for over an hour because of heavy rain. No, I think they delayed it because they knew Ed and I were coming on. So they said,
that must be it. Must be it.
Yeah.
It's strange that the south of France is having rain, and where we've got nice-ish weather here.
Deke the Trucker says, good evening, guys. I'm now sitting in Treetown patio drinking a cold San Miguel. You rubbing salt into our wounds, Deke. Right. I'm going to do this twice. I'm going to, at the beginning of the stream, I'm going to do it towards the end. I've got to do a plug, guys. My book is out now. It's on Amazon, the paperback version and the Kindle. It's called a Kindle, but you can download it to a PC or a laptop. I'll just show you the cover here. I've got to do a quick plug because it's only just gone up. There it is. Thailand Bound Stories, Real Tales of Love and Losses in the Land of Smiles. There's 30 stories in there. It's not actually audible at the moment. It's just a readable book. But mate, yeah, it's not. I haven't overpriced it. It's $4.99, and the paper version is a bit more than that. So there is a link in the description if you're interested in going and have a look at that on Amazon. Okay. And typical scenario there, guy got his pockets hanging out there, nothing left.
The cover there says it all. I mean, in an instant, it's the picture tells the story, really, doesn't it? I like that.
I know. I see you put out a video today. Again, I haven't caught it yet. What was that one you put out?
Oh, it's one that's been highly requested. I'm always a little bit reluctant to do these things, but so many other people do this kind of thing. It's basically people that want to know all along, Pete, and some people want to know, nothing else other than the cost of ladies. How much is it to have fun with the ladies if you go out to Thailand? You've always got to be subtle if you do stuff like that. Very, very subtle. Funny enough, I'd done a couple of videos like that a few years ago on Cambodia, and I was about as subtle as a demolition ball, but they got full advertising on them. So this one that I put, I just put it out this afternoon, but I think it might be a big hit because that is a subject matter that a lot of people are interested in. It's not one that I would like to do all the time, but people, you've got to be honest. People want to know the script. If they're going to go all the way from America or whatever, people are fascinated by prices.
Yeah.
If you want to know what I mean, just watch the video.
Let me just say thank you to Antonio. He's a regular in my stream. I don't know if you've seen him in your stream. Thank you for that super chat. Watching from Perth, Australia. Yeah, you're right. I mean, the thing is, people say to me, why do you use thumbnails of like girls in bikinis and boobs hanging out and stuff? And it's true, sex does sell. People will say, oh, it's clickbait and all the rest of it. But, you want people to watch your videos. And like you've just said about when you make a video about prices of bar girls and things, I have to be very careful because, I'm married. I won't be for much longer, but I am at the moment. And, there is an audience out there who they don't want to see sunset beaches and temples and tuk-tuk rides. They want to know about patio girls, prices, all that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done a handful of videos between Cambodia, Vietnam, on Philippines on that subject matter, and they've all been huge. A couple of them have gone into the millions, really, seriously, But you can't do that all the time. It brought a lot of subscribers. You can't do that all the time. Personally, I would rather make videos like I did Jordan Me Travels, of how to get from Koh Tao to Koh Phangan. They're easy to do, but at the end of the day, a lot of guys. The truth of the matter is, a lot of the guys want to go to Thailand and Cambodia because they want to hook up with the women. So they want to know, how much it's going to cost them, and basically, basically, you've got to be a little bit, but you've got to be subtle as well. You've got to be subtle. You have to be subtle with that. Careful what you say.
You have to be really subtle. When I get guys sending stories and the guy will actually say something like, I paid a bar fine, took her back to the hotel and banged her all night. Hopefully I'll get away with that on this. But I'll say I gave her a tip and took her back to my hotel to carry on drinking. Hopefully people have got enough sense to be able to work out in between. But you're right, YouTube are they're very strict on it.
I'll tell you just a point though, that YouTube, you know, you've heard the saying football is a funny old game. YouTube's a funny old game. You can get away with quite a lot, you know, verbally on YouTube. But if you show a thumbnail of a lady with a thong, or if you show any raunchy nightlife scenes, you know, then they'll take the video down. I don't know if you know Big Fat Bestie. He's really good. He done a video.
I've not met him.
He done a video some years ago, a really good video where he just walked along Pattaya Beach and explained the cost of How's Your Father a few years ago, and he got a 1 million view video from that terrific video. He did another video about the cost of soy cowboy girls, but they demonetized his video. It wasn't because of what he was talking about, it was because they didn't like the image of soy cowboy. YouTube's a funny old game. It's the visual nipple.
They took one of my thumbnails down last week, and the girl wasn't naked. She had, like you said, she had a thong on, and they just removed it, so it was blank. I just put another thumbnail up there, but they're very finicky. Let me just answer Stephen's questions here. Peter and Ed, the dynamic duo, we should be wearing a cape for next time, Ed. Get a cape, you know, with a S in the middle, something like that. Right, Peter and Ed, the dynamic duo. Cambodia is all open again. Peter, would you give Cambodia another visit, or are you still put off by what it was like when you were here back in the 1990s? No, I will, and I intend to. When I live in Thailand full time, hopefully by the end of the year, I want to do, when everything's open again, I want to do little border hops to closer countries. So I want to do Vietnam, Cambodia, the Philippines. I'm in Thailand. I live in Thailand full time, and they're local, aren't they? 1 hour flight, 1.5 hours. So definitely, I'd like to go and have another look.
I would have gone there this year. I had a flight book, but he cancelled, and obviously with the circumstance, it was better just staying in Thailand. But nice to hear from Steve O'Connor as well. I'll be looking forward to going back to Cambodia, definitely when the time's right.
Let's see what Prior 9. Ed, people love talking about bars, girls, and prices. It's just how it is. People want to know. Great video. I mean, I don't know if you know this, Ed. I've mentioned this loads of times on my stream, but do you know Bangkok Pat? He makes the videos about very interesting stuff.
Really.
But you know, talking about different crowds, when I was in Bangkok, I interviewed him to put a video on my channel, and he interviewed me to put a video on his channel. So the video I put on my channel with Pat, everyone loved it. It was like, great interview, you guys together, blah blah blah, no problem. He put his interview with me on his, and because it's a totally different crowd, they were leaving comments like, oh, you know, I'm going to unsubscribe. How can you bring this guy Peter on your channel? You know, he's a monger. He's bringing down the tone of your excellent channel. And in the end, he had to actually stop the comments coming in, you know, remove the comments. So it just shows you, you know, depending on what channel you're on, you have got different audiences.
I mean, it's strange. I mean, you know, some of the subscribers, they like you, but they might not like me, or you know, or whatever. I've interviewed a few people and a few of the vloggers on my channel, and some of the hostile comments. One guy did unsubscribe, and he was a good subscriber. He used to send super chats. He was really good. I didn't remove his comment. I had Jim Andrews. I made a video with Jim Andrews. He was a nice guy in Wahin. I don't know if you know Jim Andrews, but you know, nice guy. I made a video, and this guy put a comment on about Jim Andrews, which I didn't see. YouTube removed his comment. I didn't. Whatever he said about Jim, YouTube removed his comment. But then the guy sent me another comment saying, I'm unsubscribing. You removed my comment. You this, that, and the other. No, I didn't. It was YouTube that done it. But that's the way it is. You know, that's the way it is.
I get people who write to me and say, why did you remove my comment? You know, you can't just have positive. And I don't, like you said, YouTube go in. Sometimes their software picks up certain words and removes it. And someone will write to me and I think, well, I haven't even seen your comment.
Exactly.
I'm guys, when you leave a comment today, I'll try and show as many as I can, but we might not be able to address a lot of them because we're talking. We will try and talk about some of your comments, but as we're talking, I'll put them up on screen so they're not ignored. Hopefully I'll get most of them. There's a guy who's I've seen in your stream before. Bottle Baby. Damn, inflation scripts keep increasing. All right. Paul Hoskins in the house. Some lovely 50+ girls in Thailand.
Good old Paul Hoskin.
I know you can rely on Paul, can't you? Right. Okay. Let's see who else is in. Ryan Seeger, is it? Hello, everyone from a wet Folkestone in England. Yeah, it's not too, but it was raining here actually a while ago. Who else? Taxi Talal. Bangkok Pat is one of the lads and incredibly good video production. He is.
Yeah.
Do you watch his videos?
I do watch a lot of it. He seems very, very educated, very interesting stuff. He did drop me a message, when I was just about to leave Bangkok, saying, you need, someone to show you around. And I would love to have taken him up on that. But, with my, traveling itinerary, I was moving on. So I'd love to meet up with him in Bangkok one of these days. Really would. Very interesting.
You were in Pattaya for a long time. Did you have a good time?
I did about 2 months, wasn't I? Taking 9 days out of that for Koh Chang. And I did have a good time. Yeah, not to begin with, because it was very, very precarious. And there's one of my favorite words that's caught on, but very precarious going, because everyone was getting the onion variant. They were all getting it. And it was a bit embarrassing. I was a bit panicked. Simply because, Peter, I don't know if this was the case with you, but I met loads of fellas, loads of them, who've been dragged off who tested positive in the wrong place and been dragged off to hospital for 10 days. Or guys who said, me mates, come out here with me mate, he's in hospital now, whatever. I was just very, very wary about getting that onion variant. It was the case of found myself a couple of nice little quiet bars where I could sit there with a mask on, drinking a beer. And if anyone recognized it, what a strange situation. If anyone recognized me in the bar, oh, I know. And then they'd come to, you come a bit closer, move a bit closer. No, back. Yeah, I was very paranoid. But after a few weeks, it got better and better and better. And I did eventually have a good time there. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I caught it when I was there, don't you? I had to self-isolate for a week. I met a guy in the airport coming back. When I was coming back from Thailand, there was a guy, oldish guy, I think he's about 17. We're having a beer. He was stood there, I'm here. And I told him what had happened to me. And he said, I was in Pattaya. I caught it. And I said, did you self-isolate? Did they take you to hospittal? He says, no, I just carried on going out. And I thought that was a bit cavalier of him. He knew he was infected and,
a bit reckless.
Right. Okay. Some advice on my upcoming diet. Again, thank you for that. There was one here. Right. Roy Good. Having a detox from Thailand, I'm now in Kaz, Turkey. Glorious weather and amazing food and beaches. Well, Andrew Hammond is actually heading out to Turkey in a week or two, so that'll be good news for him. John Paul, great to see the two Thailand YouTube legends as it today. No beers for you both during the stream. I'm sipping a 10-year-old Bushmills, watching on my balcony in Warsaw. What is everybody else drinking? I think most people in the UK anyway would be drinking coffee or tea. It's only sort of 20 past. Do you drink in the day, Ed?
Too much. I have a couple of when I'm abroad. I daytime drinking is a bit of a problem with me, because in a hot climate, I'll get to that point in the day when I'll sit there. I've walked along the beach for miles, and then I'll sit down, have a couple of beers. Have a meal and a couple more. I do. I shouldn't really. I wish I could not do it, but I do have a few beers of an afternoon.
Yeah. I don't drink at all in the daytime, even when I'm in Thailand. I've always had this fear of becoming a full-on alcoholic. I've seen it happen to a lot of guys in Thailand, and it just ruins them. I mean, forget the sort of health side of it. It just ruins them every which way you can think of. And I've had this golden rule that I don't drink. I suppose if you go in there for a week, 2 weeks, it doesn't matter if you can control it. But I've always been paranoid that if I drink in the day, I won't be able to stop, because I drink most nights. And I was really fearful. I'm not now, but I was really fearful of becoming a full-on alcoholic. And I just do not touch it in the daytime, not at all.
Yeah. That's good. That's the willpower not to do that. There's something about cold beer in a hot climate that really appeals to me.
Well, here's a guy who doesn't mind drinking in the daytime. Damon, he's on his second vodka and orange juice. Well done. Right. IKC, John Paul drinking a Korean soju from Chengzhou, China on a Sunday night, getting ready for bed tomorrow. Yeah, it's a time difference, isn't it? Sunday afternoon here. Stephen 4X, I don't drink before 9 p.m. in England. I'm the same, Stephen. Normally, sometimes a little bit early, like 20 to 9. Because I go to bed around 11:30. Have you finished that bottle of Hennessy yet, Ed?
I did. It was absolutely lovely. It was absolutely lovely. Somebody bought it for me for my birthday. It was absolutely went down very, very nicely. It's not cheap. You can never get a decent deal in Sainsbury's or anywhere like that on the Hennessy, but yeah, quality stuff.
It's a good brandy, isn't it? There's a question for you on screen, Ed.
Okay, Andrew Hammond. Eddie, you said a couple of weeks ago you were going to the gym to get back in shape. How's it going? Oh, I haven't actually made it to the gym. I've been doing a few press ups and 5 minutes on my exercise bike at home. But I have been very lethargic the last few weeks since I come back.
I can imagine you on your bike going to the co-op to pick up another bottle of Hennessy.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. The co-op's within walking distance of me, so I can do that. No, I must have. Do you know something? I will come clean with you, Peter and Andrew. I am a doer. I'm not a thinker. I'm not someone who thinks of doing things and never gets around to it. I will, if I say I'm going to do something, I will do. Like travel. If I say I'm going to travel, then I'll travel. Whatever. I must admit, going on a diet and losing weight, that is the one thing which I say I'm going to do it, and then not necessarily do it. I think, I know I said that, but I've tried to discipline myself, but it's not easy. It's not easy. At least I'm not putting on weight.
No, I've put a lot on in the winter. See, I was geared up to go out to Thailand. I hadn't been out for 2 years. I was so excited about going, and I got on this diet. I was walking 5 miles a day, and I lost 23 kilos. I think I've probably put most of that back on over the winter because you need more calories. You don't go out so often.
Yeah.
And, I can see it. I can feel it in my clothes. But I'm going out in August again, and I've got to get the weight. I'm going to start this keto diet. Simon, my friend in Thailand's on the keto diet, and he's lost 15 kilos. And he said it's great because he doesn't starve. He does some intermittent fasting, and he eats, quite well. He just doesn't eat any carbs. So I'll give that a go and see how that goes.
Is there any diet, Peter, where you can still drink plenty of beer?
I did. When I lost the 23 kilos, the only reason I put it back on was because I just kind of went mad over the winter. But I did. I mean, I was missing out on breakfast. Lunchtime, I was having maybe a banana and an orange. 3 o'clock, I'd have an apple. 6 o'clock, I had dinner, which I made sure I filled up on either porridge or, something substantial, homemade soups that my wife made. But I was drinking 3 cans of lager every night, and I still lost 23 kilos.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a guy that I met out in Thailand there, kept seeing him regularly in the bars, and he lost about 5 stone in 5 months. He was drinking every night, but I think the way he done it is that he just didn't eat at all during the day. He had something, maybe a hamburger late at night, but his diet was alcohol. Now, that's not healthy, and it's not even healthy at 60 years old to lose 5 stone in 5 months. You do have to be careful there,
Yeah. I'll just answer that one. El Terrifical says, Peter, did you sell your house? In case you don't know, Ed, my house is up for sale because my wife and myself are going our separate ways. Because I let you know anyway. But there's just not a market there at the moment. People are kind of frightened about interest rates. My house is a 4-bedroom standalone house with a double garage, and people are just not buying these houses at the moment. The agent called me up and said, look, it's not your house. There's no interest at that level. If you're talking about, 3-bedroom semis in a Victorian street, then they get snapped up. But no, I haven't sold it, but I'm still going to Thailand in August, September. Hopefully I'll sell it before the end of the year.
Oh, well, best of luck.
Yeah. There you go. One for you there, Ed.
Javier Lopez. Eddie, you managed to spend around £8,000 in 4 months in Thailand. It sounds like you did very well. Yeah. That's so funny enough. Somebody messaged, someone in the chat, David Coleman. It was in Canada. He said basically, could he live in Thailand on what was it, $2,500 a month? Well, that's about £2,000 in English money. Now, I travelled around Thailand on £2,000 a month, so I'm pretty sure you could live in Thailand on £2,000 a month. But £8,000. I hope that was realistic for people, because I like to be as realistic as possible when it comes to the price. One thing that gets my goat, Peter, I've said this many times, you still get those armchair experts back in England. who think everything is dirt cheap in Thailand. They want to live like a king, rubbish. Now, I try and be as realistic as possible, absolutely realistic as possible. So
I let me just say hi to Mohammed Masili. Is it? I probably said your name wrong. Thanks for that super chat, and good to have you in the stream with me and Ed this afternoon. Yeah, I'm the same. You know, I did a video because people have been asking me for a couple of years, how much do I need to live in Thailand or have a holiday? And I've always wrote back and said I can't answer you because it's a, you know, how long's a bit of string sort of thing. So I eventually did bring out a video, and I did 3 levels of spending in the video. So I did a budget traveler, a mid-range price traveler, and you know, a top-end traveler. So I did the 3 lots of budgets, and hopefully that would give people an idea. But it is difficult. It is difficult. Let me just say thank you to Stephen. Pilsner Fund. It'll be the Nescafe Fund this afternoon, Stephen, unfortunately. And what you were saying, Ed, about people saying you can live on nothing. You must have seen the videos where people say, I live in Thailand for $600 a month and I'm having a ball.
I've seen it. Very, very unrealistic that. You're not living, you're existing on that kind of money, you know.
And they don't take into account the cost of visas. And some people, I've said that to people, you're not taking the cost of the visas. And they're like, well, I border hop. But even if you border hop, you've got to pay for transportation, you've got to pay for the hotel, you've still got to pay for the actual visa itself. And now the rules in Thailand, you can only border hop twice in a year. It's not like the old days, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go hopping. Living in Asia, I started eating only twice a day. Found myself ordering a grab 300 baht meal or 3 or 4 dishes and rice. Eat that full for the whole day. Okay. Just say hi to Frankel. Frankel's doing the moderating in the background, Ed. If anybody comes in.
Really?
Yeah, if anybody comes in and they're a little bit lippy, then he'll take them out. Del Boy, Eddie. Okay, here's one for you, Eddie. You can answer that one.
Del Boy K. Eddie, I just watched your vlog on bar fines. The fines seem the same from a few years ago, but the STLT price have gone way up. I'll still go. Well, this is the thing, you see. We don't want to go into too much detail about this here, but it's you know, what has surprised a lot of people. You know, you've heard people saying now that Thailand has opened up again, there's bargains galore to be had. You know, bargains galore. It's actually the opposite. The girls are actually they want more money. Maybe they want to make up for lost time, or they might have jets to play. But it's actually not less expensive. It's actually more expensive. So you know, that's basically you know what it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Paul Hoskins says, oh, I've lost him. Where is he? There we go. All you can eat buffet is good value. I always get nervous before I put his comments on there because I don't know what he's going to say. I don't screen the comments. You know what I mean?
Can I just tell you? I give Paul Hoskins one comment that I was actually in a bar in Pattaya when I was reading it. I think it was on one of your videos about, you know, the people getting banged up for 10 days in a scam hospital, and Paul Hoskins put, what happens if I test positive for crabs? Do I have to spend 10 days in an aquarium?
I know.
I ultimately laughed at it though.
Okay. Yeah, Frank Durrell says, not a bad turnout for a Sunday afternoon. Don't forget to hit that like button. It helps the streams. Cheers, everyone. Just to let you guys know, Ed and I, we just discussed this off camera beforehand. We're going to try and do a monthly Sunday afternoon stream like this. Like Ed said, this will go down a lot better in the winter when it's dark and gloomy and people have got nothing to do. Obviously, on a day like today, okay, we've got showers and things, but you can go out and you can do things. So, you know, we're not going to get huge numbers in. Obviously, you're off to Romania soon, so we won't be doing what we now. This is a May one, so June one we won't be doing, will we? Because you won't be here.
Oh no, it was nothing stopping me from doing it abroad, though, is it? Whether I might, I might not have. I'm not sure if I have StreamYards on my mobile. I might not be able to take my laptop with me, Peter, because
you've got that bag, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got that little bag. But you know, somebody did tell me it's probably a good thing you're not taking checked baggage because apparently there's you know, several hour queues at these airports right now. So at least I'll have to say about that. We will have to say about that.
I bought a rucksack like yours. I mean, I take a case as well, but the rucksack I bought has a laptop section in it.
Yeah. I might be able to squeeze them, but this laptop here that I have right in front of me now, this is quite big and heavy. It's like a 17-inch laptop. This one, and it's about £4 in weight, and it's
a rich man like you, Eddie. You'll be able to go out and buy a 14-inch lightweight screen.
Yeah. No, this is good, this one, but I think it might be a bit big for that bag. Well, I have to see what happens.
What's the time difference in Romania to here then? Is it an hour ahead, something like that?
I think it might be 2 hours. I know Turkey is 2 hours ahead of us. Perhaps Romania might be 2 hours. I think Romania it is. Not sure. But what I was thinking of doing with Romania actually is maybe just taking my mobile phone and maybe doing live streams all the way, and also filming things and make videos when I come back. Maybe that might, because I'm going for a month. That might seem like a long time, but it goes.
Well, I'm just thinking if it's because I'm trying to do streams with people in Thailand where it's 6 or 7 hours apart, which is really difficult. But if you're only 2 hours ahead, then at the end of June, when we're due to do another one, end of the month, we could probably do it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's. I would love to be. I would love to be sitting at a pavement cafe in Budapest or one of those places, doing a live stream like this. I think that'd go down well.
Let me just Mark there on screen. Let me just say answer his comment there. Many expats go broke because they cannot budget their money, obviously, in Thailand. Have you seen much of that, Ed, yourself?
Well, I can well believe, because the fact is that not everybody is disciplined with money. Some people are very frivolous, reckless with money. You have to be shrewd. You don't have to be a tight, a real tight person. But you just have to manage it. Not everybody's good at that. I've known some really, really educated people, very, very intelligent people who've just simply got no discipline with money. And, they're always short of money because they just got no discipline. They will buy things that they can't afford, and they'll end up in debt. People often say to me, they probably say to you as well, but, how can you travel to these countries? I travel, for months. It's because I'm disciplined with money. I put my money away wisely, and when I'm there, I make a good track of what I'm spending. Not everyone can do that.
Yeah, I once took a guy out with me because I've been going out to Thailand for years. This guy who I know, he'd never been abroad actually, never mind Thailand, and he said to me, and he was quite a good friend. He said, "Oh, take me out with you next time. Take me out. I want to go. I've been watching videos, so I thought, all right, I'll take him out." I was only going out for Sunday to Sunday a week, and it blew him away. He was going for soapy massages. He was making full. He was right in there. And basically, the night before we were going to leave on the Sunday, and on the Saturday, I said to him, "Look, last night we're going out, wherever we were going." And he said, "Oh, I'm staying in the hotel tonight." I said, "You're joking. Your last night in Thailand, you're going to stay in and watch TV." He said, "Yeah, but it's been a rough week. I want to relax before I go back." Yeah. It wasn't until we got back to the UK I'd found out he didn't have any money left. If he'd have been honest with me, I'd have said, "Come out, I'll buy you some beers." But what he'd been doing is every time he went to a soapy massage, instead of giving like 100 baht tip, he'd been giving the girls 500 baht, 1,000 baht. And he was saying to me, "Oh, she was really happy. I gave 1,000 baht tip." And I'm like, "Yeah, I bet she was, But he went broke, as it were, but he'd come back, not a problem. But I have seen guys sitting on the bridges across Sukhumvit with a bowl with a sign saying, "Need money for ticket, please help," and Thais throwing coins into it. Terrible.
Yeah. It's hard to have sympathy, really, for them, isn't it, Peter? Though, I mean, they come from maybe Britain, a rich country, or another European country, and go to a poorer country and then end up skint. It's hard to have sympathy for them, really, isn't it?
It is, but I think also some of them, they get hooked up with girls that they fall in love with, the wrong kind of girls, and they lose their money to that girl. I don't mean she steals it out their bank account, but they just, it gets to a point where it's almost emotional blackmail. She wants this, she wants that. And if he doesn't buy it, she's going in huff. She's not seeing him. And
I also, everyone's different, Peter. I like yourself. I've been traveling for a long time, so some of the excitement, goes out of it, and you learn to have a more laid back approach. There's guys who go to Thailand, and like a kid let loose, and they'll blow. They just want to fill their hotel room full of women every night, and what to be, and they'll blow through a small fortune. Sometimes they'll blow through money that they haven't really got, and they're headed for being scared. Personally, my own personal opinion, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do. I like travel. I like budget travel. I could, rather than getting taxis, across the country, I'll get a bus, which is much cheaper. I like I don't see the point in, having, orgies back in my hotel. I really, really don't want to do that. I like the ladies. Just everything in moderation.
I'm just, yeah, I agree with you. I'm just laughing because I had this vision of you naked with about 10 girls on a bed in the Bates Motel, no less.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh my God.
No, I'm the same. I'm married, but I'm going to be unmarried soon, so I'm going to be single for the first time. But I'm not really interested in doing what you've just said. And another thing, I was watching one of your streams, and somebody, when you had announced that you were going to Romania, and someone jokingly sent a comment and said, "Why didn't you take Thailand Ban with you, Peter?" And you, we like to travel alone, all of us. We can do our own thing, right? But you'd actually said, "Oh, Peter, I think he only likes Thailand." And what it is, Ed, it's not that I only like Thailand. I've traveled all my life. And if I was based in Bangkok, yes, I would travel to Vietnam, Cambodia, the Philippines, because it's an hour and a half. I don't want to sit on an aeroplane for 7, 8 hours, 10 hours. I've got to do it to get to Thailand. But when I go to Thailand, I'm now staying months rather than weeks. So, if it's a local country, then I will definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, under normal circumstances, those Southeast Asian, they're wonderful. You can hop on it became, before the pandemic, it became so easy to get a flight to Vietnam, and you could go there you could stay there for a couple of weeks without a visa. And Cambodia, it was such a doddle to get around. The reason I didn't do that this time around, because I was frightened to test them positive, and ended up having problems.
Do you think? I don't want to get into this in a big way, but do you think they're going to drop the Thailand pass in July for us?
I would imagine so. It's progression. To be honest with you, Peter, I don't think the Thailand pass has been really the problem. All along, the biggest headache is those PCR tests. They're the big headache.
Oh yeah.
Having to do that within 72 hours of flying. That was a huge headache. The Thailand pass, they probably will drop it, but I think scrapping the PCR test, that's the big progression, really.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question, Ed. Now, this is personal. You don't have to answer this. Not personal, as in where do you work or what do you do? Nothing like that, because I know you're not into them. So if you can tell me to mind my own business, but just out of interest, you've spent a lot of time in Thailand, like I have. On your travels, when you've been entertaining the ladies, have you ever fallen for a girl? Maybe not fallen in love, but got really keen on her, and you know what I'm saying?
Quite a few. Yeah.
Every time.
Quite a few. Actually, to be honest with you, more in Cambodia than in Thailand. Really? Yeah, more in Cambodia. I had some great years in Cambodia. I was going there, very, very regularly, and it was a wonderful place. And there's something about the Cambodian girls that it's, I don't know, they're a little bit more likable. Some of them are, I met so many really lovely girls in Cambodia. And it's I've had me fun out there, but I suppose I've come close to it. But then a lot of the bars. Could you ever fall in love with a bar girl? Really, realistically, you've got to be realistic.
Many do. Listen to the stories.
You've got to be realistic, really.
Right, we're time for a bit of advertising now. Frankel says 286 in the house. Can we have a plug on Eddie's new channel? Well, it's not new channel; it's new channels, isn't it? You've got 2 new channels.
Yeah, it's Steady Eddie Live. I actually got it monetized this week.
I remember you saying,
yeah. I got.
What's the music when you've got? What's that all about? Because
that's what it is, Peter. It's what's it called? Steady Eddie Music Box. That's only started this week. What it is, for my live streams, I made some videos. I used uncopyrighted music, and there's some really, really, really good stuff out there. and I put a video over of me walking along a beach, or a beach scene in Thailand or wherever. So I made my own little videos, very very easy to make, uncopyrighted music, nice bit of visuals, Athens, whatever. And I saved them, on the computer. But when I came to try and upload them on the live stream, they wouldn't play properly. Maybe it's because of my crap Wi-Fi. So I left with a bunch of videos, and I thought, why not just upload them to a new channel? But what I've started to do is, as well, what I've thought is that I've actually got quite a library of live bands in Thailand and other places, and which I can upload to this same channel. So it's a music channel, really. Now, I don't know if you know this. The problem with filming a live band in a bar in anywhere is that a lot of people think that if it's a band playing this famous song, you won't have any copyright issues. You will. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, you will if that's a famous song. So I'll put a couple of them on this channel, but it's still the case that if they become popular, YouTube will put advertising on them, but I won't get the money. It'll go to the original songwriter, you see. Yeah. But
it's funny what you're saying about the uncopyrighted music, because probably nobody knows this, because I've never advertised it. I've actually got another YouTube channel with music on it. It's one of these. It hasn't done very well. I haven't advertised it at all. There's about 15 to 20 videos on there, and they're all music. But what it is, this music that you can listen to do yoga and to help you sleep if you can't sleep. I think the channel's called The Calm Place, but there's a few videos called a few channels. I think I've got, at last count, I had 1 subscriber. That was the last time I looked, about 6 weeks ago. I kind of started it because I could get a lot of uncopyrighted music, and I've seen some big channels out there that do this, and I thought, well, I'll jump on the bandwagon. But you know what, my heart wasn't in it, because you're talking, pipe music and flute music to fall asleep with, and it's very difficult to do anything with that. So I've kind of given up on it. It's still there, but I don't do anything. Do you want to answer that one, Ed, from Marky Mark?
Marky Mark, how's the cost of Cambodia compared to Thailand? Well, I mean, the last time I was in Cambodia was about 3 years ago. So obviously I've lost a little bit of touch with that. But it was generally a cheaper country for beer and food and just about, well, certainly for beer and food. Cambodia was a better value country than Thailand.
Yeah. I think the last time I was in Cambodia was 1998. That's 24 years ago. So it's definitely worth a visit. Is it C or Cy London said Eddie's Cambodia poem is a masterpiece? That was the very first video you ever put up, I believe, Ed, or was it Shit Street?
The other one that you just said. I put that video. A lot of people like that one. I used uncopyrighted music for that one as well, which added to it. But a lot of people like that one. I mean, that was based on, going to this, but it was based on a very, very sad Cambodian girl that I knew at the time. So it shows that I've got a bit of a heart. Anyway, what's
your most proudest video that you've ever put out there? Have you got one that stands out that you're really proud of? It's your favorite, or they all just all the?
It's hard to say, really, because some of the ones that you think are going to do really well don't do so well, and then other ones which is on the top of the hat do better. And funnily enough, one video I liked a couple of Christmases ago. I put out a video about how much it would be for 2 weeks in Pattaya. If you've never been there, how much and it got about, I think, close to 100,000 views, which is not bad. But actually, I think that was one of the ones which I thought was a useful video. It got a really, really good feedback. But
well, I'll tell you my favorite video of yours before I tell you mine. And somebody's just reminded me, because I put a comment there, and there it is. It's that one. You always remember the first Thai go. Do you remember that one you did in Hua Hin with a lady we won't mention?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Your best line you came out with was, you know what, I've been going to Thailand for 18 years, and the girls I take from the bars now are still the same age.
Yeah.
That was a great video.
Honesty, yeah. It's all about honesty. A lot of people like that one.
The one my favorite video of myself, I'm not talking about what got the most numbers, but the one I enjoyed making and most proud of was one that's had hardly anybody look at it. It's had like 2,000 views in about 6 months. 4 miles from where I live, there's a disbanded, a disused airfield, an American World War II airfield. They had flying fortresses there. It was the first base to actually go off on a mission in the whole of the war. And there's still a lot of stuff there in the woods. You know, you can still see the concrete bases where the cinema was, the accommodations, things like that. And I made a 30-minute documentary. I researched it, and it came out really well. And that's the video I'm most proudest of. But I think, you know, on a channel like Thailand Bound, it's not going to light any fireworks. Maybe if I went off and submitted it to some Second World War YouTube channels, then it might do something. But that, you know, I really enjoyed that, and I'm proud of that video. But like I say, it didn't really take off, forgive the pun.
Yeah. Well, but people often say to me, why do you do outdoor videos of whaling? You know, at the end of the day, it's a Southeast Asian, you know, channel. That's what people are into. I don't think it's really worth the effort. Can I just mention something about that video that you just mentioned? What is it? You never forget your first Thai girls. A lot of people like that video. I did get a comment from a girl. She posted a comment on, you know, the comment was simply "dirty old man." So I checked her profile pic, and she had her own YouTube channel. And I watched a couple of videos, and oh my God, she was sort of a 30-something girl. And she was the most foul-mouthed, filthy, disgusting mouth female that I've come across on YouTube in a very long time. And she's calling me a dirty old man. She wants to look at her own mouth.
Okay. Interesting story. We've got to answer this one, right? So the walking dude, he said, what is the most embarrassing moment while traveling? Mine was blowing off in a massage girl's face. In God. Go on, you go first.
Well, to have the words, you shouldn't eat before, you eat afterwards. You know, you eat your curry after the massage, not before of it. But that is very embarrassing. My most embarrassing moment while traveling. Oh, what is it? What is it? My most embarrassing moment? I don't know. It's hard to think that one. My most embarrassing moment. I can't. You answer. I can't think of that one.
Okay, you've probably got a few that you'll remember after the stream, but the one that sticks out in my mind was when you know, my background is hotels, and I was in a 5-star hotel in Thailand, and it was when we opened it. It's in Khon Kaen. It's called the Portman. I think it's a Portman. It was a Sofitel, but I went up there. I was part of the opening team while they were building it, so it wasn't yet open. And the owner, he's a Chinese Thai, very rich man, owns a lot of dealerships, cars and stuff. And we had this big meeting in the lobby lounge. So you have like 3 or 4 sofas in a kind of square. We had all the coffee and everything, and all these big important people there. So, you know, it's very echoey, isn't it? A lobby of a hotel. So we had the owner, his wife, his daughter, the banker, some investors. I mean, they were all, you know, I mean, you know, they were up there, I was down here, but we were all sitting in a circle, and it went on for a bit, and I had to go to the loo. And same as that guy says, I stood up and let the most loud, rip-roaring fart you've ever heard. And I just nearly died. I mean, they were really polite. They kind of smirked a little bit to each other and carried on like nothing happened. But I was, you know, I just wanted the ground to open up. I mean, nature's nature, isn't it? Luckily, there was no follow-through, but that was embarrassing.
Okay. I'll think about it.
Yeah, I think we better move away from this subject. Okay. Right. Good afternoon. If you've just joined us in the stream, nearly 300 in. Good to see you. As I said earlier, Ed and I will be doing this on a regular basis, hopefully at the end of the month. And I might do the odd Sunday afternoon stream as well when Ed's not around. Maybe see if I can get some guests. I might be able to get Simon from Thailand on, but he spends Sundays with his family, so maybe not. So you can't think of any embarrassing moments then, Ed, at all?
Not honestly, none that actually springs to mind. No, I'm pleased to say. I'm absolutely pleased to say. None that really springs to mind. No. It just stumped me, that one. I'll probably think of something when I wake up. Later. I'm just gonna plug my book again now. Look, there's a book cover. So that's on Amazon now. There's a link in the description. There's 30 stories there. It's not audible, it's readable. It's quite cheap, £4.99. That is the first in a series of books that I'm going to release. And as you can see from the picture on the front, the guy's face and pockets says it all. All right. So what
Oh, right. Ben says, bloody hell, Peter. Yeah, that was maybe I should have kept that to myself, that story, but somebody brought it out, didn't they? Okay. Traveling is fraught with difficulties. You know, when you were away for that couple of months, I kind of, when you live there, it's different because you've got your room, you've got your gym membership, whatever. You've got your regular things that you do on a daily basis. But when you're living out of a suitcase, it's quite difficult for a long period, isn't it?
It is. It is. I mean, I've done longer than that. I've done 6 months at a time in South America. But this comes back, and I did put a video about this. When say you're away for 4 months, and then you decide enough's enough. I'm going home again. You will get two separate viewpoints on that. One person will say 4 months. I mean, a couple of weeks is enough for me, and I start getting bored. And I understand that. But the other person, you hear quite frequently, after 4 months, it must be terrible coming home again and maybe having to go to work, whatever. No, it isn't, because after 4 months, you feel like you've had your fun. It's like having a very, very long night out. It's a great night out, plenty of beer and fun and all the rest of it. But you know that it's got to come to an end. And I think after 4 months, I just about had enough, really.
Yeah, yeah.
But,
did you?
Yeah, it does get a bit tiresome.
When you were in Bangkok, where did you kind of hang out? Because obviously Nana Plaza's, there's nothing happening there, and Cowboy, there wasn't much going on. Did you go down to Soi 5 where those new bars were, or
Soi 7? Yeah. I went there quite a lot, and I met up with CB Media, Chad, a few times.
Yeah.
We had a couple of really good nights out there, and it was a lot of fun. You know, he's a good guy, you know, to be friends, and that was terrific. That was like amongst all the, you know, the because that was in the heart of the pandemic, really, and that was definitely the liveliest place. Some great live bands there. Plenty going on.
That's the place with all the neon inside, isn't it? It's very brightly lit. There's a lot of bars in there. It's a big area, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like if you just gone into an indoor market. But that's where I was hanging out in Bangkok, and it was good. I had some really good nights out there.
I didn't actually go in. I didn't actually go in there, but I passed it. I like to go into the beer garden further down, and at the German beer garden. But they ripped me off last time I was there, and I got really pissed off with them because I've been going there for years. And I like the atmosphere in there because you can go in, have a drink, unwind. You don't get hassled. There are people about to talk to, but they don't hassle you. But I actually got ripped off royally when I was in there last time. And I had some old boot shouting her head off at me, some old Thai woman. She was upset because I caught her out ripping me off. So she started shouting at me like it was my fault. I told you the story, didn't I?
So what Soi is that on exactly? Is that
the German beer bar? I think it's on Soi. It's 5 or 7. I can never remember. I think it's 5. It's the next one up from Foodland. Do you know where Foodland is?
Yeah, no, but it's on Sukhumvit. If you pass Soi 7,
I can tell you. The Soi where you went to those bars. What number was that?
I think it was Soi 7.
Right, that's where it is then, because because I seen that. I walked past it on the left. I went further, and the beer garden is kind of like the last business on the left. Yellow sign.
Yeah. Well, if you go a bit further, there's some really nice bars. I can't remember the names of my bar. I think it's Soi 13. You got some. I think there's a German place there as well. I thought that was the one that you meant, but some really nice bars in Soi 13 as well. But I never went at night time, and I stopped off in the daytime.
I found Pattaya a hell of a lot cheaper than Bangkok as far as food and drinks. How about you?
Oh yeah, it always has been. There's always been significant difference. I mean, if you like a good live band, and you go to somewhere like Soi Cowboy. I was talking a couple of years ago. The beer prices for a bottle of beer got up to, a small bottle of beer got up to 160 baht. You go into a nice live band in Pattaya, Soi 7 or 8 or whatever, and you pay 95 baht. That's a huge difference, really. So Pattaya has always been a lot cheaper than Bangkok.
Yeah, let me just answer this from Will Smith. It says, serious question to Peter. Are you looking forward to any naughty massages when you next go to Pattaya? Well, I shan't be basing myself in Pattaya because of my YouTube channel. I'll be basing myself in Bangkok, but it's a bit early to sort of answer that one, really, isn't it? But I have got a smile on my face, so that should give it away. there was another one I wanted to address here, and I think I've missed it. Where are we? Yeah, here we go. Brian says it's Soy 7 Beer Garden is where the freelancers hang out. You must have been there, Ed, no?
Yeah, that's where it was. I had quite a lot of nights out there because it was within walking distance of where I was staying.
Yeah. Well, I will go back there, and I hope they don't remember me, but they probably will. I didn't do anything wrong. I'll tell you very quickly how they ripped me off. I went in there, and it was really quiet compared to how it normally is. I went in there about I'd arranged to meet somebody at 9 o'clock, and I got there at 8:30, about half an hour early. Had a nice draft beer. I was sitting there, and it got to 9. He didn't turn up. I couldn't get him on his mobile. It got to 9:30. I figured he's not coming. Well, there was a girl who'd been trying to talk to me here, and obviously I wasn't interested. I was just waiting for my friend. And in the end, she said to me, do you want to play pool? And I like playing pool. So I said, well, all right, why not? So she was drinking a red wine. She'd had this one glass of red wine. So we went over to play pool, and I said, you have to buy the drinks, take care of their time, don't you? You can't expect them to, play pool with you for nothing. So I bought her a glass of red wine, but it was really expensive. It was I looked at the bill, and for her, her first one was 100 baht or 120, and the one I bought was like 170. There was 50 baht difference. And I said to the guy, well, hang on, she's bought one already. It's 120, but now I've just bought one. It's 170. What's going on? And he said, well, because it's a ladies' drink, because you bought it, it's now a ladies' drink. So she gets a 50 baht. So I said to the guy, I said, look, I'm not going to buy any more drinks. They're expensive. Have a couple of games of pool with me, and I'll give you a tip at the end. She's really happy with that. So she's had one drink she bought herself. She's had one that I bought, 2 red wines. For the rest of the night, I ordered 3 or 4 beers. We played pool, probably 6, 7, 8 games. At the end, I asked for the bill. I gave her a couple of 100 baht. She was happy. And then the bill came back, and it had about 9 glasses of red wine on it. And I said, she hasn't had these. And you know what it's like. They defended their corner, and I defended my corner. And there was an old woman who's kind of in charge, a real horrible thing she was. And she started getting involved. So I said, she spoke English, this old woman. So I said, look, here's the deal. She had one drink when I came in. And I said to the girl, I said, how many drinks when I meet you, how many drinks you buy? She said, 1. I said, how many drinks I buy you? She said, 1. So I said to the lady, I said, yeah, the girl has said she had 1. I bought 1. That's 2 red wines. There's 9 here. The old woman snatched the bill out of my hand like I was doing something wrong, started shouting and waving, and she was doing what they normally do. She was trying to get a crowd around to, like they do, and it didn't happen. And, because when they start shouting and creating, a lot of Thais will join in, and, it's very intimidating. But for some reason, there wasn't hardly anybody in there. The 2 staff behind the bar were busy serving customers. She started ranting and raving, and it never happened. So she come back, and she crossed all these extra wines off the bill. Now, if they were genuine, they'd have never done that, right? And I didn't count it, but the bill was 1,800 and something baht the first time. The second time it was like 1,200 baht. I was probably still ripped off, but I thought, well, I've got 500 baht back. She put it down on the tray, and she was like looking at me like I was filth. But she's ripping me off, but she's looking at me like I'm, some filth. Because I've discovered that she's ripping me off. I took the coins out the tray. Say again?
I won't be going in that.
Well, it's normally okay. It's like just to finish off on the story. I took the coin, and I took I've never done it before. I took the last 5 baht out of the tray. I left nothing, and I walked out of there. And I thought, all right, that's it. But it's like you said, they're at the beginning of the stream, they're getting desperate now, and they try to recoup some of the money. And they think it's clever to maybe rip somebody off, where what you should really be doing is promoting your place, promoting drinks, and looking after customers.
Yeah, exactly. It's unusual that, because I don't really tend to I haven't had that myself, but obviously they let the side down, don't they? Really, they let the side down. Yeah, you know what I mean by doing that.
Yeah. Right, let's put a comment up here. Right, Robin the Chosen One. What's the worst freelancer bar girl experience you guys have ever had? Well, I can't answer that because obviously I'm married. What about you, Ed?
The worst freelance bar I think it was kind of funny. It was kind of funny, yeah. I think it was actually the first visit I ever had to Thailand. Yeah, Jesus Christ, it was rather rough-looking girl. I always think when I look back as the Kirby girl. I mean, I come from a city called Liverpool, and you know, Kirby girls are they'll try and rip you off. Well, my own personal experience. But I went out to you know, to Pattaya, and this girl, I thought, Jesus, she's not from bloody Pattaya. She's from Kirby. She was trying to any excuse to try and get money out of me. You know, she wanted money for taxis. She wanted money for Christ knows what else. I went into a karaoke place with her, and she said, "You give that girl a tip." You know, she seen me as a bit of a walking ATM machine, and I thought it was kind of funny in the long run. But basically,
sorry, there's a delay there. What about the noodles in the Philippines?
Oh my God Almighty! Well, Peter, I've done a little video where I recounted my first night stepping out of the hotel room and exploring the go-go bars in Angeles City in the Philippines, from the first experience to the last bar that I went in. And the thing is, that story is like the best stories. You don't have to make up one word of it. Everything that happened was how it happened. And one bar, oh my God, the women were just bloody appalling. The go-go dancers, you're having a laugh. They were absolutely appalling. You know, another bar I went in, there was a couple of women there with black underwear, thongs on, and they had their arms folded like you know, like a couple, like Les Dawson and the other fella over the garden fence. They were just standing there on the stage, and at first glance, they looked like a couple of bloody sumo wrestlers. And I think it was actually the same bar. There was one good-looking girl on the stage, and she was just standing there. They all just stand there. They don't dance. They stand there. And the next minute, a delivery guy comes in, hands her a bowl of noodles, and she starts eating the bowl of noodles on the stage. Oh my God!
Unbelievable, I know. Right, Stephen J.L. Austin says, going back to this story in the beer garden, can't you pay as you go? It seems like an odd system, open to abuse. What if the person gets drunk and can't remember? Well, you can technically, but the thing is, when every time you have a drink, they bring a piece of paper, a bill. So you've had one Heineken, the paper says one Heineken, they pop it in a pot. At the end of the night, if you've had 6 beers and maybe you bought 3 ladies' drinks, there's 9 drinks in there, you tally up, you get your final bill and you pay it. So there's lots of ways around it to make sure you don't rip off. A lot of the bars now, they'll make you sign the chit because they get hassle as well. Guys will say, I haven't had all these drinks. I only had 3 drinks. There's 6 drinks here. So some of the bars now, when they bring the chit, they bring a pen and they ask you to sign it. So you can't say that. Now, you could turn that around and do the other way. You could take your own pen and let it be known and say, right, when she gets the check, say, give it to me, and you could sign it and put it in. You're not going to get ripped off there, are you? So in answer to your question, you could pay for every drink, but it doesn't really work in Thailand for some reason. It's not like in the UK where you go to a bar, pub, get your pint, pay your money, sit down, and then you do the same again. It just doesn't really gel in. It doesn't work like that in Thailand, does it?
Funny enough, when I first went out to Thailand, that's what I did, because I just thought it was the best way. Just pay as you go. And you know, people say, "What are you doing that for?" I said, well, that's the way that I like to do things. But you get a little bit more relaxed. You do get a little bit more relaxed. But I've seen in go-go bars, I've seen some blazing rows, and it tends to be from fellas who drink, you know, whiskey and whatever rather than beer drinks. It's the whiskey. I've seen a group of fellas blazing rows. How much is my bill? And it looks like it's all gonna kick off and you know. And all of that. So I've seen some bloody blazing rows. I mean, you know, so somebody orders like a few whiskeys. It tends to be the whiskey drinkers and, you know, the brandy drinkers, the ones who drink all the expensive shots. They're the ones who tend to kick off when they realize how much they've been charged.
You must have seen this as well. And it's really strange to see. I've seen, not being ripped off, but I've seen guys sitting in a bar and patio, for instance. And these guys are big guys, you know, muscles on them. You know, 6 foot, and they're with a little girl. She's probably 4'8" or something, you know. And for whatever reason, they've had a bit of a round. She's standing there in front of everyone, slapping him, you know. And obviously, he's not going to hit her back. She knows that. But I've seen it where, you know, these big guys are sitting there. The girl's upset with the guy, and she's slapping him, and she's got her fists, and she's doing this on him. And, you know, have you seen that?
I've seen something like that. I was in about in one place, one of those English pubs. It might have been a Pig and Whistle. A Scottish fellow came in, and he was quite affluent. He was, I think he was a lawyer. He was buying everybody drinks and all that. And he had his missus there, like, in the bar. He got chatting to me. He said, "This is my Thai wife and all that. You don't mess with the Thai wife." And I think he pointed something. He had a bit of a black eye. She gave me a black eye the other day. Jesus.
Really?
Oh Christ! You don't mess with them.
Yeah, guys, if you've just joined us, we're trying to answer as many questions as we can, but obviously we're sort of ad-libbing it as well. So if we miss out on you, we're not ignoring you. We're trying to get through them as best as we can. Thai Time says, Peter, your denial about being a Mongo will obviously change as a single man, right? So my answer to that is not guilty, Your Honor. Right, let's move on. World Traveller Forever. It seems like you got bored of Thailand after 4 months. Ed, what do you think is the best amount of time to spend in Thailand?
It wasn't a matter of getting bored with the place. It's just the fact that, every night and every afternoon I'm eating and drinking and eating and drinking. You can only do so much. No, I wasn't bored with it. What was that question again? Where is this question?
Oh,
what do you think?
Was it that one?
What do you think is the best amount of time to spend in Thailand? Well, it's whether you want to travel or whether you have commitments back home. I think 4 months is a good amount of time. I have no regrets, absolutely no regret. But it's like having a night out. You haven't had a night out for a while, and you're really, really looking forward to it. You want to get out there and you want to eat, drink, be merry, and you're having a great time. But you do know that sooner or later that night out has got to come to an end. And that's what that 4 months was like. It just came to an end. What it is, it's a total of four islands while I'd been out there. And I love islands. Koh Chang, which I've been many times, and then Koh Tao, Koh Phangan, Koh Samui. Those three places. And islands are wonderful, beautiful beaches, palm trees, coconuts, absolutely wonderful. But at the end of the day, when you do a few of them in succession, they all start looking the same, you see. So I just felt that I'd been there and done enough, really. But if you can do 4 months, do it.
Yeah. The rookie cameraman says, very soon Thailand, no masks or Thailand pass. Woohoo. Yeah, I that's the mask thing. When you were there, how did you get on with that? I found it very uncomfortable walking down Sukhumvit with a mask on,
Yeah, I tended to, I put it on my ears, but I had it under my chin, just in case, like, you pass any over enthusiastic policeman. That's what it was a bit of a pain, but it wasn't that bad. You kind of got used to it after a while. Some masks are more comfortable than others.
Yeah, I mean, well, this is where I went wrong. When I got on the aircraft, I didn't think about it. Those cheap blue masks that you get. I wore one of them on the flight, and it was awful. After sort of 6 hours, it started to cut into the back of my ears. And I've since found out you can actually buy some much more comfortable masks that are a bit more loose fitting, thicker elastic on them. And I didn't even give it a second thought. It was awful. When I got into my hotel in Bangkok and whipped that mask off, it was better than, it was the greatest experience I'd had for a long time. Another question from Robin the Chosen One. Just popped over to Soy Cowboy and Nana a couple of weeks ago. It's not the same. Do you lads think it will be back to normal like before? I do. I certainly do think it will come back because, it's a way for people to make money there. There's businesses there. As long as the businesses are still there. Yeah, I do. What about you, Ed?
Well, with regards to Walking Street in Pattaya, that's going to take a long time to come back. Because when I seen that, it was only a few weeks ago that I seen it. I think with places like in Soy, maybe some of those places which are very expensive to run, before they really, really come back, business owners invest in them again. They want to be absolutely sure that the bogeyman, the anti-virus is not going to make a comeback. They want to know that it's gone forever, because they've all been hurt so much. They don't want to invest lots of money if they think that those bars might just suffer another lockdown, because they weren't locked down for 5 minutes. Remember, they were locked down for a couple of years. So it will come back, but it'll take time.
It's looking good at the moment because when I do my stream on a Friday, I always put the latest figures from the Bangkok Post about the numbers. And last Friday, it was 4,500 positive cases. The Friday before that, it was 6,500. So it's dropped 2,000 a week. And just 2 or 3 months ago, it was like 26,000. So I think we're getting back to normal. I hope so anyway. Right. Let me just put this one up. This is an interesting question. Bobby saying, is it? Hey, fellas, do you know what will happen if you don't have enough money to pay your bill? Yeah, you 100%. If you didn't have any money, you would be arrested by the police and you would be taken to somewhere like Lumpini police station until you had the funds to pay that money. They don't, you know, they don't let it go, guys. It's not like where you come from.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely. Make sure you got enough money.
Right.
You know.
Okay, let's get a couple of questions here. The rookie cameraman again. I know in Thailand it's very easy to rent motorbikes and mopeds, but how is it actually hiring a car? Because I know you don't like hiring a motorbike, do you, Ed? You don't like motorbikes?
No. It's in this chat here, Peter. Somebody's just been reporting. Also, a guy was killed in a motorbike in Vietnam. A couple of weeks ago, there was a young guy and his girlfriend. They were both killed in Vietnam on a motorbike. You know, they look great, but they have such a high fatality rate. They really, really do. You know,
I've never. Yeah, you're right. I've never had a problem, and I'll tell you why. But just getting back to this guy's question quickly. Yeah, you can rent cars the same as you can motorbikes, but they're not on every corner like they are. A lot of the towns like Patio Hua Hin, every other street, you've got a row of motorbikes that you can rent. You can rent cars as well. Obviously, they're a lot more expensive than motorbikes, but you've got to find out where the rental companies are. But you can rent cars. Back on what you were saying about the motorbike accidents there, Ed. Phuket has one of the largest fertility numbers around the world with foreigners, because what happens, you get what I call born again bikers go out there. So they were 20 years old, they had a bike, they got a girlfriend, got married, had kids, the toys had to go, so the bike went. They haven't ridden a motorcycle for 25 years. They go out to Phuket, rent themselves a huge Harley Davidson, and you know what it's like. It's all up and down through the mountains, round tight bends, and they just come a cropper. Personally, I've never had a problem. I always rent bikes. The reason I've never have a problem is because, one, I rent small bikes, step throughs like a Honda Click, the little Hondas. Secondly, I most of the time I avoid going on the highway with them, and I don't go mad. I drive slowly. I assume because they're great to go up to 7-Eleven or to go and get dinner. You know, when I was there with my wife 2 years ago, she was on the back. We go to in Hua Hin, we go get dinner. Great, you know, brilliant. But I always assume that somebody's going to pull out of a side street, and I give myself plenty of time to be able to stop. So that's why I've never had an issue. But these born again bikers who go out there and let rip, it's going to happen.
Yeah, you know, I'm tempted to say a lot of these youngsters that you see in Koh Tao and islands like that, they go crazy on those bikes, zipping down the pathways with no helmets on. But I did actually see, you know, a guy who looked like he might have been, you know, maybe 60 years old, killed in Hua Hin. I think it was coming out of one of those soys onto the main road at night time, and you know, ambulances, police. He was, you know, was lying dead in the road. You know, it's. I just don't think it's worth it unless you really know what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, how do you get about them? Because I mean, Patty is okay because you can jump on the back of the BART buses, but I find somewhere like Hua Hin, for instance, they don't have the taxi systems. You know, you're going to pay 100 baht wherever you go, and you've got to kind of wait for a bus. What do you do for getting around them?
In the hotel where I was staying in Hua Hin, this time there was a main, you know, dual carriageway which was running parallel to the beach, and it wasn't the easiest. There wasn't always you're right, 100 baht for the tuk-tuk. There wasn't always one available, and one night I did after the night out, I did have to walk back to the hotel. So it's some places are easier to get around than others, but generally speaking, you know, Thailand's a lot easier to get around than, you know, than England is. Really, I mean, in England you're lost without a car.
Yeah, I'll let you answer this one just quickly. Stephen Austin, yes, I do watch Dr. Berg. Excellent channel and very informative. Right, there's one on screen for you there, Ed.
Canadian Express, would you recommend taking a girl with you to Koh Chang or find girls when you get there? You can do either. I mean, if you take a girl to Koh Chang, take her to Kai Bay, which is beautiful beach. It's lovely there, and she'll love it. If you want to meet girls there, bar girls, you can meet them, but you meet them in White Sands Beach. I'm talking about under normal circumstances, by the way. It wasn't normal circumstance when I was out there earlier this year. But White Sand Beach has a lot of, quite a few girly bars, and some of them are pretty good. But I actually don't like White Sand Beach personally. It's, but there are girls available there if you want them. Yeah, you can do either. You can do either, really.
Yeah, just back on the motorbikes there. Where's Appleyard? I always rent motorbikes in Phuket and see some people that shouldn't be riding them. They have no idea. Yeah, I know Wes is a big motorbike man, and yeah, there are people out there who shouldn't be riding them, and they seem to think when they get to Thailand they don't have to wear a helmet. It's law everywhere, including Thailand, but a lot of guys they don't bother. Right, Paul Hoskin, another question. What was the most amazing day you had in Thailand? I don't know if that's aimed at Eddie or me, but I'll let Ed answer it.
Well, can I mention a Thai sandwich? Quite recent, actually. Quite recent. It was lovely. Beautiful, absolutely delicious. Yeah, that's what Paul wants to hear. That's what he wants to know about. Yeah, it was wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
If you said sitting on the beach watching the sun go down with a pina colada on your own, I don't think that was what he was looking for. I think you answered it correctly. Okay. Taxi to Lao. Local bus is very cheap if traveling between cities. I do Lao to Khon Kaen a few times, dead easy. Yeah, the mini buses are quite good as well. The Toyota mini buses, but they kind of scare me a little bit because some of those drivers drive like maniacs. Have you ever taken one of those buses?
I took one. I took a mini bus. It was a bus, but from Bangkok Ekamai Station to Hua Hin, and he drove like a maniac. He really did drive like a maniac, and with no seatbelts either. You had to wear a face mask, but there's no seatbelts. So
they did have a crackdown on those minibuses because they went through a period where a lot of people were getting, they were losing their lives because these guys, they're on a time clock and they were driving like bats out of hell. The minibuses were flipping, people were getting killed, and the government did try and clamp down on it. I always think you're better off if you can get the regular bus, the blue bus, the big bus, because if anything hits you're probably going to they're going to come off worse than you. But in them little minibuses, they're good, but they're kind of scary at the same time. Okay. Big Billy, is there not a trouble with packs of dogs when walking back to your digs early in the mornings?
Packs of dogs. I'll tell you what bothers me with soy dogs. Soy dogs in places like Pattaya, second road Pattaya. You're walking along the pavement there, and it's a busy road that's there. You walk on the pavement. There's motorbikes, everywhere, and parts of, and some of these soy dogs look quite intimidating. You wouldn't want to bite from one because you never know what diseases they've got. And quite often when these soy dogs come towards you, I try and step out of the way of them. And the problem is that if one of those was to bite and you was to swerve, you may just move out into the road where there's oncoming traffic. So it's quite dangerous, really. Having those dogs. It's not the dogs, but they look very, very manky. I wouldn't want to be bit by one. You never know what they've got, really.
Yeah, I've had two instances on motorbikes where I've been chased by pack animals, and one of them was with my wife in Hua Hin about 2 years ago. No, it wasn't with my wife. I was showing somebody around Hua Hin. They arrived. I met them. They said, "Oh, I've never been here before," and I'm like, "Well, jump on the back of the bike. I'll show you around." And I was going through a local neighborhood, and when I went into this one street, I looked at the end of the street, and there was a right turn. I thought, well, I'll go down there and I'll come out the other end. So I drove down there, and as I drove down on the street, there was 3 or 4 pack dogs just sitting there. They looked at me drive by, but they didn't react at all. I got to the end, and it was a dead end, so I had to turn round. But when I come back this time, that they just jumped up, started growling and barking, and ran after me, and I had to speed up, and I put my legs up because I thought they're gonna have me, these dogs,
Yeah.
We've got some complaints in today. We've got a complaint in now. Ed, I'll have to address this. Who's this? Complaints time. Ben Lino. Lao is pronounced Loy. Okay, we've been told. Thank you for that. Taxi to Lao says, yeah, those mini buses are lethal. Right. Hard Tulip, one for you, Ed. Have you ever been to the Castle of Gogo in Pattaya?
No, I haven't. Isn't that the kinky one with black, PVC and whips and all? Isn't that one of those where it's one of those? I've heard about it. That's not really my thing. I'd like to see it, but it's not really my sort of thing. Never actually been to that one.
I've never been in that windmill club. I've heard that's quite raunchy. Have you been in there?
It is quite raunchy. It's very, under normal circumstances, very, very cramped in there, and it's very, very cramped. And what's funny about that place, I haven't really seen this in other go-go bars, but every time you're in there, there's always one of the go-go dancers, and they do a little, can I say, I'm not being too explicit, but they wear little mini skirts with no underwear and all this kind of stuff. There's always a drunken one. There's always a drunken one. One of them is had to be held to the seat by a mate, and it's quite funny in that way. But I haven't spent too much time in the windmill. It's one of the most well known. But recently, when I was there, that was open, that windmill. But they were insisting that you had an ATK test on the door. You can't just show them, your results on your mobile phone. You have to have a test on.
Yeah.
So I just said, no, I'm not doing that. Not doing that. But it's a little bit overrated, that, to be honest with you.
I'll tell you what always used to make me smile in Pattaya. Now, you know why all the girls go down there. There's very few girls in Pattaya who aren't actually working in the bars this is. And I used to meet guys and they'd be with a girl and I'd say, where did you meet her? What's the, and it was a guy's girlfriend. And he'd be like, no, she's different. She's not like that. And I was in the airport and that same guy I was telling you about earlier who caught COVID and just didn't care. He said, oh, yeah, I've got a girlfriend in Pattaya. And I said, are you sure? Because you sure you're going home? She's still in Pattaya. Are you sure about this? He's like, oh, yeah, she's totally different. She's a nice girl. She's got a salon, a hair salon and all this. I'm like, all right, very good. But inside, I'm thinking, yeah, all right. So he pulls out his wallet and a little book. He said, I'll show you some photographs. And he shows me this photographs of her. And she's in skin tight leather mini dress. She's got tattoos. She's got big, thick red lipstick on. I didn't have the heart to tell the guy. Okay. Alex Curtin, is it going to Pattaya in December for the first time? Don't drink, but we'll be there for a fortnight. How much is it to enjoy myself? Do you want to answer that, Ed?
Going to Pattaya in December, well, that's peak time, isn't it? That's Christmas time, for the first time. If you don't drink, that will be a big advantage to your budget, really. But how much is enough to enjoy yourself? Well, under normal circumstances, I'd probably say about three for a couple of weeks. I'd probably say about 3,000. But if you don't drink, you might do that on 2,000. But but the sky's the limit. Some people will spend a small amount. Some people will start ringing bells. They'll go into bars, bar find every girl in sight. But to enjoy yourself, if you don't drink, you'll probably spend less than most fellas do.
Yeah,
that's about as close.
Yeah, the other thing to remember though is he didn't mention whether he wants to have female company. Let me just say thank you. I'll answer that question, but let me just say I'll read this one in a minute. The other thing to remember, he didn't say whether he's going to entertain the ladies or not, and I'm guessing he'll want to. But you can't just go into a bar and sit there because you don't drink. You're going to have to buy soft drinks. Okay, so if you intend to go around bars, you'll have to buy a soda or a Coke. And in Thailand, the soft drinks are nearly as much, if not the same price, as beers, because they don't mind you sitting there and looking what's going on and serving you, but they're not going to do it for 20, 30 baht. They'll charge you the same amount. And I've had this out with a lot of guys who said, I can buy a soda in 7-Eleven for 10 baht, but they're charging 140 baht in this go-go bar. And I'm like, yeah, but it's, go and buy it for 10 baht and sit on the steps of a 7-Eleven or sit here. There's 100 girls on stage, music pumping out, using their aircon, and they're serving you. So that can be a bit deceiving. You can still get, obviously you're not going to drink as much as you would if you drank real drinks, but soft drinks can be expensive. Here's one for you, Ed. Any plans to retire to Thailand like Peter? Maybe a Peter and Ed bar. No way, not a bar. Maybe a Peter and Ed bar with all your subs. You both could make a killing, get a manga to run it. That's the last thing in the world I'd want to do is run a bar in Thailand. What about you, Ed?
I wouldn't want to do that. No, I wouldn't want to do that either. As for retiring, you get asked that a lot. The problem with me is that I still have a traveller bug inside me, a traveller gene, if you want to call it that. and I can't really stop traveling. I still like traveling to other places. Retirement means that you pick one place and stay there for the rest of your life. I'm still not really, still not really prepared to do that just yet.
Yeah. The only reason I'm doing it, Ed, is because I'm separating with my wife on good friendly terms. The sparkle's gone. That's all it is. We're going to do our own thing. I'm 62. What am I going to do? I'm going to have a flat I live in or a small house. What am I going to do with the rest of my life? Like you always say on your streams, go down to the local social club and get in on the meat draw, or watch Netflix for the rest of my life. You know what it's like, even at our age, not even talking about girlies, you go, when you're in Thailand, you have a life, I mean, what made my mind up when I was there in December, because people used to ask me, and I always just say, well, I'll probably have England as my base. I'll carry on working part-time. When the school holidays are on, I'll head out to Thailand. But, when I was there in December, I thought, I've got to live here. What am I doing in the UK? It's so vibrant. The weather's good. The food's excellent. The people are nice. I just don't want to be in England anymore. I just can't stand the place, to be honest with you.
I know a lot of people are feeling that way. Do you know something? I think really, if I did live in Thailand, it probably would be Bangkok, because after a city which I didn't like when I first seen it years ago, it really, really grows on you over the years, and it is the center of everything. You can do something different every day in Bangkok, whereas Pattaya, it's good, but it gets smaller and smaller each day that you're there, really.
I don't actually like Pattaya anymore. I just find it too much in your face. I've been going there for a lot of years. It is what it is. I understand why people like to go out there. It's just too much for me now. I'm just, it just does my head in. I can't, I don't like it anymore. And the other side of the second road, when I lived there, you only had the beach road, walking street, and those soys in between, like 6, 7, 8, soy post office, all that, soy Diana. That's all there was. But all the new stuff that's come up, or the latest stuff, soy Bacau, Tree Town, soy Pothole, it just doesn't do it for me. It reminds me of an Asian Ibiza, or a Costa del, wherever, I mean, when I was there last time, looking around, I don't want to sound like a snob, but it was like the Spain in the 70s, just tacky, and it just didn't do it for me.
Yeah. It's a great place. I mean, it is a great place, Pattaya. But when I spent, best part of a couple of months, well, I did, including the final visit, a couple of months there, and it does get smaller and smaller every day. When you leave your hotel, I'm going to walk down, down from Soy Bacau to Second Road and to Beach. It does get smaller and smaller every day when you're there, really. But I still like it.
Yeah, I know. The one thing I do like about Pattaya is you've got a fantastic selection of food, Western and Thai food. One of the questions, I was meant to put it up, but I missed it. Somebody said, do you eat much Thai food when you're here in the UK?
Do I eat much? Yeah. I don't really eat any of it when I'm here in the UK. I don't really. It's not really. It's not really my bag. I eat things I like roast dinners. I'm having a nice big chicken roast dinner tonight. That's the kind of thing that I like.
Yeah, put another plate and a knife and fork out. I'll be around later.
Yeah.
Interesting comment from Ben there. He says, if you don't drink, you end up spending more money because you have to occupy your time with other activities. Yeah. John Paul, Cy London, sad, but okay, you're talking to somebody else. Let's see. Okay, people are talking to each other. So when you're actually in Thailand now, where is your favorite place, Ed? Do you prefer Bangkok or Pattaya now? And is there any other regions that you like?
Onto this, and the recent trip, I enjoyed Bangkok a lot. I was only there for 10 days. But Pattaya is good. Pattaya is great, but I tend to think of Pattaya as it's like a giant Christmas pudding. You have your memories. You can't wait to get there. You look at it; it looks fantastic, and it smells great. You can't wait to get your teeth into it. But if you eat too much of it, then you get pig sick, and you just don't want to see it again for a very long time. I mean, that's what Pattaya is like. And it did something about Pattaya. And this is something I never ever thought I'd say about Pattaya. On this visit, the couple of months I was there, it had a little bit of a dullness that you wouldn't normally. Pattaya, you think is never ever dull, but some of those bars, your favorite bars in Walking Street, wherever closed, then it didn't have the spark that it normally would have. But it's still a great place. It's still a great place. You know.
What did you think? I know it was a long time ago, but what did you think about Hua Hin? It's not for everybody.
I think some places are great to visit, and some places are great to live. I think Hua Hin might be one of those places where you might want to live there, but you would need transport. I think you would need to have a car, like Jim Andrews does. You would need to have a car if you lived in Hua Hin, because it's not the easiest place to get around. But
sorry, I'd gone.
I liked it, but it wasn't one of my favorite places, I must admit. Maybe if I lived there, so it's got all the things that you need, definitely.
The guy you just mentioned, actually, I do know him. I've seen his videos. Jim. He has a house in Hua Hin, doesn't he? Yes, and he wears glasses. He's got kind of quite a high voice. Is that him?
Yeah.
You know the guy? Yeah. I've watched some of his videos are quite good. He likes cycling, and yeah, he lives in Hua Hin. I'll be honest with you. If I like going out to live out there, if I didn't have my YouTube channel, I definitely wouldn't live in Pattaya. And if I was forced at gunpoint to live in Pattaya, it would be in Jomtien, because Jomtien I kind of like. Yeah. But the problem of living in Jomtien, it's too tempting. You know, if I'm sitting at home on a Sunday night in my apartment in Jomtien, I've had a couple of beers and I'm sitting there and I can't find anything on Netflix. You know, it's 10 minutes away, isn't it? It's just so tempting to go. So there's that element to it. But I think for myself, if I didn't have my YouTube channel, I would definitely live in Hua Hin, because there's enough there for it to be interesting. It's not in your face like Pattaya. It's not nothing there like Chatham, which has got a beautiful stretch of beach, but there isn't much more there. You've got some decent shopping malls. You've got a few streets of bars, which aren't bad. You've got some decent places to live. And the rents are a lot cheaper. You know, you can rent an apartment down there, real nice one-bedroom apartment, 10,000, 12,000 baht. So I think for me, Hua Hin would be the place. But the problem when you live in a place like that, or Pattaya, you are in a bubble and you kind of lose touch with what's going on outside of your own bubble.
Yeah. I mean, Hua Hin, I could imagine it's a place which probably does grow on you. If I had to, there's two places in Thailand which, people who are thinking of retiring will say are their favorite places. One of them is Chiang Mai, and the other is Hua Hin. I would rather have Hua Hin because it is close. It's got a beach there, which Chiang Mai. I can never really understand why so many expats want to live in Chiang Mai. I can't really see the appeal of that place. I've been there.
No, and the thing is, Chiang Mai. I visited Chiang Mai like I did a lot of places in Thailand, but like you said, it didn't really appeal to me. And the thing is, you've got the added. What's the opposite to bonus? You've got the burning every year. You know, they light the fields. You've got all that thick smoke comes over the city. I like you say, I didn't see the appeal. And of course, you're a long way from anywhere else, aren't you? Being in Bangkok or Pattaya is a couple of hours, isn't it? But Chiang Mai.
See, this is the really big advantage of Pattaya. Since they built that new Bangkok airport 12 years ago, or whenever, the proximity of Bangkok to Pattaya. I mean, they have so. That is a great location. I don't like saying this, but really, if you lived there, you wouldn't really need the rest of Thailand. Only 1.5 hours away by road from Suvarnabhumi Airport to Pattaya, and that's brilliant. And I know that Pattaya hasn't got the best beach. I've never swam in it, but you are quite close to islands which do have some really nice beaches. Like Koh Samet. So
I regret when I was in I was only there for a week, and kind of Trevor took me out every night. Did you meet Trevor from Buzz and Pattaya while you were there? No. He kind of took me out every night, and I got kind of rat-assed. He's got a big group he takes around, so I didn't get to go to any islands. I kind of regret that. But just a quick one there. Damon says, "How was your Fray Bentus pie last night? Any good?"
It was good. It was good. I mean, somebody commented there, divorced man's food. That's the kind of food that divorced, because it's so simple. The Fray Bentus pie, been around in its tin for donkey's years. I remember when I was a kid. You get the lid. You use a tin opener to get the lid off. You bunk it in the oven, half an hour or so. Bob's your uncle. Lovely stuff.
I've never had one. Never experienced a Fray Bentus pie.
Oh, they go nice with chips or whatever.
Yeah. So Canary spreads his wings. He said, "I agree with Egg. Chiang Mai didn't do it for me either." There's a lot of, you get a lot, I don't know about now since the pandemic's been around, but there's a lot of an IT crowd, you know, the people who work from laptops, you know, they do drop shipping, or they've got digital nomads. And a lot of there's a younger crowd, and there was quite a big scene up in Chiang Mai. There's one or two famous YouTubers up there. I won't name, but yeah, it does appeal to some people. I think older guys, it's not really, you know, it's not the place to, you know, worth a visit, but not live there.
It's got like, you know, a high proportion of temples and some really, really great temples. But the actual town itself looks like one of those kind of grim, you know, English market towns, you know, like Macclesfield or Newton Abbot or one of them places. You know, it's kind of like Newton Abbot with temples. You know, it's not as instantly appealing, that place, really. You know, but then some expats, they love it. They say it's their favorite place.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward when I go out to live and I've finally settled down. Although my channel's Thailand bound, I'm really looking forward to doing travel throughout Southeast Asia. And I'll go to the Philippines. I won't go for a month, 2 months. It's too long. But I will go for a week, 2 weeks, and I will go to like the Philippines, and I will go to Cambodia and Vietnam. And I don't think I'll do countries like Taiwan. Like you went to Taiwan, didn't you? That doesn't appeal to me. Yeah. Japan would be a good place to look at. Say again?
It seemed very clean and interesting. Yeah, the lovely train network. I suffered because I did have the second week there. I had a bit of food poisoning. But you know, there's a lot of good things in Taiwan. A lot of good things.
Yeah, it's just not a place that appeals to me really. I kind of like the rough and readiness of. It's like I worked in Singapore for a while, and that place is like a model city. It's clean. It's efficient, but it's not the sort of place I like to live. It's too straight, if that makes sense. Yeah. Let me just put this up. Del K, if you were to retire to Thailand, why would it be necessary to want to be near the airport? I'd move to Hua Hin, where you can breathe the air and it's close enough to Bangkok. It's about 3 hours away from Bangkok, Hua Hin, 3.5 hours. I don't think you weren't saying you'd live. You didn't say you'd want to live next to the airport, did you? You were just
no. What I meant is, I mean, you know, you wouldn't need the airport, but it's close to Bangkok. I mean, you know, if you like both Bangkok and Pattaya, then you know you could spend time in both of those places. I mean, I suppose central Bangkok to Pattaya is more than 1.5 hours because obviously you've got to take the traffic into account. You know.
And on Hua Hin there, Marky Mark says, I could see living in Hua Hin provided the ferry service to Pattaya is running, but it's not. It shut down. You used to, because the Gulf of Thailand is like a horseshoe. Pattaya is on the east side of it, and Hua Hin is on the west side of it. And they had a ferry service, about 1,400 baht you could cross from Pattaya to Hua Hin and back again a couple of times a day. And it was a good service, but it's gone out of business now. You can't do that anymore. Yeah. Here's one for you, Eddie.
No, so Eddie, did you only scuba dive when you were at Kota? No, I didn't. I didn't do scuba dive. I have actually done a little tiny bit of that in there, you know, off the southwest coast in England once. But I've never actually seen that through. I didn't do any ski. I mean, the problem is I don't like the taste of salt water on my throat. You know, so at the end of the day, it's a case of you don't really try and be something that you're not. It's I've tried to do a little bit of snorkeling and whatever in Caribbean countries and wherever, but it's not really the right thing for me.
No, I did a PADI course years ago in Indonesia, the diving course, but I wouldn't take it up now. A good point there from Naughty Boy. He says Hua Hin is about to get the bullet train to Bangkok, and that'll be fast. When I was last in Hua Hin, they had the pylons up, and I've watched other YouTube videos where they've actually got the cross members across the pylons now. But that's going to run all the way from mainland China, all the way down to south of Malaysia, the high-speed bullet train.
Martin Ryder's comment, like it.
Which one is that? Where is that?
Martin Ryder, Nosferatu.
Scuba diving, muff diving only. Right. McLaren, Clive, would you two cover places in North Thailand off the beaten track? My missus' place has monkeys they call out all day behind the house. Yeah, definitely. I mentioned to Ed some time ago when he was there, like perhaps nipping up to Isan. I don't think you had time back there when I suggested it, but yeah, I lived in Khon Kaen for 2 years, which is actually a city. But just outside of Konkan, there's some interesting villages and things. So yeah, I'd like to maybe rent a car, go up to Isan. It's a 6-hour drive from Bangkok to Konkan. Base myself perhaps in Konkan in a nice air-conditioned hotel where I can get good food, and then just do day trips out to villages and things. But you know, I think you need to. I really want to learn better Thai. I'm having Thai lessons at the moment, and I want to be able to full-on communicate. So yeah, that's something I would definitely do.
Are the, I mean, northern Thailand, I mean, are they really, really appealing, those places? Because I haven't really been around Isan. You know, I've never really been around there.
They are and they're not. I mean, I don't think for people like you and I don't think they would appeal to us. I mean, the first thing you'd have to say about up in northern, I'm not talking about Chiang Mai, I'm talking about anywhere in Isan, that kind of area. There's no beaches, is there? You know, there's
absolutely.
It's rural. So the positive and the negative side. So one, it's obviously a lot cheaper than the tourist areas. You know, you can live very, very cheaply up there. You know, if you've got a Thai girlfriend and you live in her village, it's going to be cheap. But I've seen a lot of guys turn to, not a lot, but some guys turn into alcoholism because they meet a girl, they decide to go and live in an Isan village, a really small Isan village. At night time, there's nothing to do whatsoever. There's no cable TV, nothing. And they turn to drink. The locals all do it. They play cards and drink Thai whiskey all night. And I've seen it happen to foreign guys. So it's not somewhere that appeals to me. I wouldn't, when I lived in Isan, it was in a 5-star hotel.
Yeah, I must admit. I mean, some of those more rural places, you know, I don't really know what a lot of them look like. I mean, on my journey this time, I stopped off in a town called Chumpon, which did have a beach, which was miles away. But I actually thought it was a very, very authentic Thai place, Chumpon. But I actually thought it was very, very dull. You know, there was a couple of Thai restaurants, neither of them were really very nice. There was no bars. Maybe, you know, obviously the pandemic played a little bit of a part in that. But I actually thought it was a very, very dull place. And I thought to myself, if you go to Isan, a lot of the places there are probably like this. You know, at the end of the day, I like a nice island or a nice big city.
Yeah. Yeah. On a totally different subject here, Max says British retirees now have to spend 185 days a year in the UK to prevent their pension being frozen. Thailand does not have the reciprocal agreement with like the Philippines does. Yeah, that's quite tough, isn't it? Because if I go to live in Thailand, I'm not going to come back just to get a pension. 185 days, what's that? 30, 60, 90, 120, 150. That's a lot. That's, it's a long time.
Yeah.
I don't know, what is pension age now? Do you know?
Well, for me, it would be about 67. You know, whether I'm going to be alive by then is another matter. You know, that's a long time away. And is it worth waiting for, really?
I don't even know how much you get. I mean, you know, I'm not going to come back just to get a pension. I mean, I'm in a position where I'm not rich or loaded, but when I go out, this will be interesting now, because when I go out for this 2 months, I'm not going to be in holiday mode. I am, but I've got to watch my cash. I can't just go out and blow it and think, well, I'm going back to England. I'll go back to work. I put a load more money in the bank. I'm going to have to, I'm stopping this part-time job I'm doing. And I'm going to have to try and find a way to live nicely, cheaply, without existing, like you said. So that'll be interesting. Diane Abbott again. When choosing a place to retire, I firmly believe the most important thing to consider is the quality of muff on offer.
I love this one. I love this throw. Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, that's not something you have a problem finding there, is it? Right. Naughty Boy says living in a girlfriend's village ends up very expensive. Yeah, I suppose because you end up having to fork out for everything.
Absolutely. The brother who needs a new motorbike, you have to pay for everything. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Right. So Ben says, how would they know how many days you're in the UK? I'm going to take a guess at this. I'd say because if you've got any business, well, for a start, I've got a couple of houses that I rent out here in the UK. So obviously that money goes into my account, so they'd know, or would they? I don't know. How would they know, Ed? From your passport stamp, or?
Well, they probably know a lot about anyone, investing. Yeah, they'd know from your passport, wouldn't they? Yeah, they would know. But then, they want to see everything in this day and age. You know, it's
the thing that would worry me is if I was getting away with it, and I thought, yeah, they don't know I'm not in the UK. And they paid my pension for a couple of years, and then they caught me and said, well, you need to pay back the pension for 2 years, you know, and I end up getting a £20,000 bill or something. That's quite scary because they never let you off it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right, Naughty Boy says, love Bangkok. There is everything you could ever imagine right at your fingertips. Yeah, and a lot of people sort of think of Bangkok as just those Farang ghettos, you know, just around Sukhumvit and Ceylon, them sort of places. There's a lot more. Simon, my friend, he lives about 18 kilometers outside of the city, and it's very nice. Any more questions before? Well, how long we've been going? An hour and 45. It's not going to be a mega one today, guys. We've promised each other that. Maybe 2 hours maximum, and
I'm going to take a quick bathroom break. Yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Back in a moment. Yeah.
Okay. So I've got to try and find a question for me now. Right. Which is your favorite country? Right. That's for Eddie. Right. Brian Street says, Paul. Oh, I'll tell you what I'll do while Eddie's away. Brian Street, Paul Hosker bullet train between UK and Bangkok would be great. Yeah. Right. Let me plug my book again while Ed's away. So there it is there. That's available now. There's a link in the description if you want to have a good read. It's only a £5, just under, and that's the first volume of many to come. Okay, right. Leeds. Where's Appleyard? I tried while my lips were bright red. Streaming. Okay, you're talking to someone else again. Stephen Forex. Peter, it equates to the majority of your time, i.e. just over 50% of the year. Yeah, but like Ben said, how would they know? That's an interesting question. If anybody knows the answer to that, if there's anybody who's an accountant or works for the Inland Revenue or the UK pensions, let us know, because how would they know you're not here, for instance? Yeah, there's a stamp in your passport. Of course, if somebody looked at your passport, they can tell you're not here. But you know, if you're suddenly out the country for 6 months, how do they know? That'd be a good answer if somebody could answer that. Okay, Martin Riley says, my neighbour sold up and bought a static caravan in Clacton and lives the winter in the Philippines. Clacton, cool. Cans are coming out. Naughty Boy again. Love Bangkok. There is everything. Yeah, we did that one. Right. Another Sister George. That's someone new in tonight. Right. Thank you for that super chat. Right. Hi, Peter. When will we get to see more Nat? Love your channel. Okay. Thanks for that. Unfortunately, there won't be any more for the moment because the guy who used to make the Nat and Dave series, my friend Simon, we had another channel and he was doing them and he committed to doing one a week for me. And then it went to one a month. But he was just so busy with his business and his family, he pulled out. I can't make them. They're very sophisticated animations. You use I think it's Adobe, the software, but a specific software, and they're really good. And what I actually done recently, about a month or so ago, maybe 2 months, I took all the episodes and I made them into one hour-long Nat and Dave movie, and that's gone down really, really well. But unfortunately, I missed out episode 8, and that's the only episode that's got Franco in it, so he's pissed off with me. But yeah, I mean, in answer to your question, yeah, for the moment, no. I did meet an American guy who said his background was the animations, and he could do some stuff for me. But he's up and gone like a fart in the wind. I haven't heard from him for sort of 2 weeks, and so yeah. But good to have you in the stream, and thanks for that super chat. Okay, yeah, I noticed that. John Paul says, no squeaking door this time, Ed. Have you fixed the door? Do you put some oil on it? Or
no, it still squeaks. It still squeaks. It does still squeak. I heard the squeaky door. But I'll tell you what I have. I can't resist this, Peter.
What is it? John Smith.
Hey, John Smith. Very, very
I'm not going to
smooth.
drink this, but I always have this parked next to my PC. I'm looking at it, but I'm not going to open it. I haven't got any beers anyway. That's what I've got today. Water. I shall have a beer later. Right. Okay. There was another comment I wanted to. Okay, Stephen, on the pension. Yes, you still get your pension, just not the cost of living increases. Now that's interesting. So what you're saying is they don't stop your pension. They just don't give. Oh, that's okay. They just don't give you the increases. So that's something. Okay, Lewis C. Okay, I thought you get the pension, but it doesn't go up every year. Well, if that's the case, that's better than nothing, isn't it? For me, anyway.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, Andrew Hammond.
Medicals in the state pension, anyway.
No. But it's a bit of a scandal, though, because you get these pensioners who live in hot countries like Spain, and they're never coming back to the UK apart from visiting their loved ones, their grandchildren and stuff, and they get a heating allowance of £200 a year. Well, that can't be right, can it? But then I suppose they're going to argue everybody's entitled to it. Andrew Hammond, I met a few retirees drawing a British pension while living full-time in Vietnam. You wouldn't be able to live full-time in Thailand on a British pension, that's for sure.
No,
you would be existing. You would be existing. I do know a guy who lives on 25,000 baht a month, and he lives quite well in Thailand. But the reason he lives quite well, he's employed by a foreign company, a small company. That's why they only pay him 25. But they supply him a car, they pay for all his fuel and stuff. But what's really important is they take care of all of his visas. He doesn't have to pay. So his 25,000 baht is just for his expenses. Now he lives outside of the city. There's big seas around there. There's bars. I mean, it's okay. I've seen it. He pays, I think, 7,000 baht a month for his rent. He pays 1,000 or 2,000 for his water and his electric. And he goes to big sea. He buys food and he cooks at home. And he's enjoying himself. But I wouldn't recommend trying to go out to Thailand and living on 25,000.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a friend back here who last year he reached 65 and he was able to get his state pension, but he still works. He still has built to pay simply because you can't in England. You can't live off a state pension.
No,
his state pension is about £9,000 a year. You can't live on that. You still got to work anyway. So he's going to be working into his old age, really. You know, beyond. But Sure that is.
Yeah, I don't, but it sounds painful. No, I mean, two people on here have said that you do get your pension, you just don't get the increases, and that sounds reasonable. So if that's the case, that is better than nothing. But I've got 4 years to go. I'll look into it.
But I think you have to keep paying your national insurance, don't you? Don't you have to keep paying your national insurance in the meantime?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I've got an accountant, and that obviously does my accounts every year. And I need to go and have a meeting with her and sit down with her long before I head out to Thailand and say, what's what. Just let me just answer Smooth Operator. It says, will you be releasing a hard copy of the book rather than Kindle? Yeah, there is a hard copy. It's I think it's $9.95. It's out there now. It's on Amazon, but it's going to take 48 hours before it shows up because when you submit a book to Amazon, it takes 72 hours to approve. They did the Kindle book. Although it's called Kindle, you can download it on a phone, mobile. You can watch it on anything, read it on anything. But the hardcover book, the paper book, there is a paper book for $9.95. So that should be available by sort of Tuesday, I would imagine. Okay. Sister George, Franco. Yeah, Franco is our moderator, Sister George. But good to have you in here. I haven't seen you in here before. I don't know whereabouts are you from? Okay. Clive says 2 seconds between the first four in Monaco, 10 minutes to go. Well, we could use that. Clive, 2 seconds between the first four in Monaco, 10 minutes to go. Well, if you mean it's 10 minutes to start, give us a shout when it's just about to start. And we'll bugger off. That'll be good timing then. Yeah.
No, does it not mean it's just about to finish?
No. I'm just reading this comment here. From Keith. He says, no stamp needed. The chip in your passport is scanned, registered, and kept in a database. So if your time is up, they'll have you. You will still get some, but not all. I don't mind that you'll still get some, but not all. It's just the fact of not getting anything because I've paid into my pension for I've missed a few years, but I have paid into it.
Yeah, me too. I think the main issue really is the health insurance. That's the really, really big issue, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, I'm going to be paying about £100 a month. I've got a really good one. I'm going with a company called Pacific Cross, and they have in Bangkok. They have Australians working there, and I've had conversations for up to an hour over the phone on WhatsApp with them, and I've covered every eventuality. And I'm going for their real premium package. I managed to half the cost of the premium. It was about £200 a month because there's no limit on hospitalization, day costs, operations, whatever it is. You just got to be honest with them when you take it out, if you're on any medication, if you've had any problems. But it's the one and the good thing about Pacific Cross is they don't, a lot of the insurance companies, they won't tell you this, but they'll insure you. And when you're 64, they'll write you an email saying, well, you're 65 in 3 months' time. We cancel the insurance. We don't insure people after 3 months. That's in their small print, but who reads the small print, right? But with Pacific Cross, once you're with them, they'll just keep it going. You know, there's no age limit, as it were, if you're with them before 65.
Yeah. So £1,200 a year. Do you think that will cover you for just about everything?
Oh yeah, I mean, you can get with them. They have packages which are they're only sort of 1,200 baht a month. Mine's 4,000 baht a month, but then you're limited to 5,000 baht a day in hospital. And as you know, the businesses are the hospitals are a business. So when you're in the when you're in the room, say for a month, you're going to be charged for that room every day. You get charged for all your meals, like you're in a hotel. You'll get charged for X-rays, medicine, everything like that. So once you go over a certain criteria, a certain level, then you're going to have to pay for that yourself. So I've always been a bit cavalier in the past. I've never had insurance because I'm fairly healthy, and I thought, you know, I'll take the risk. But now I'm 62 and I'm going out there full time. I thought, you know, nobody wants to throw money away, but they are a very good company, and I've done a lot of research. I've got a guy in Vietnam who spent 30 years in the insurance industry. He said to me, when you get the paperwork, send it to me. I'll go over it and all the get out of jail clauses. You know, I know what they do, and you know, I'll consult him, and I've consulted a lot of people. So I'm not saying I'm 100% foolproof, but I've done the best I can do. And these people will even airlift you back home if needed.
Yeah. Oh, that's really, really good. I'm kind of wondering, you know, if I you know, obviously stay in England, like maybe for 6 months a year or so, I can still, you know, I've still got the national health. But is the national health any good these days? I mean, you know, you can never seem to get what you want from them, like, you know, the national health, especially during the pandemic time. Couldn't even see.
Well, they are good, but you can't get an appointment with them. That's the problem.
I know,
Mark Santoro says, Peter, your book is on Amazon in the US for the paperback version at $12.62 right now. Well, that makes sense because in the UK I've priced it at $9.95 because it's a paper book, so there's more cost as opposed to the downloadable version. So if you convert $9.95 into US dollars, I haven't done it, but that's probably going to be about $9.95 in the UK. If you put that figure of $12.62 into a conversion table on Google, it'll probably come up around $9.95. I've tried to price it reasonable, so it's under a tenner. The downloadable one is under a fiver, and I don't think that's over the top. You know, it's I should have took the comments off there.
No, I think you'll do well with that, Peter.
I hope so.
I was thinking of writing a book myself, but I know, you know, I've got an idea for it, but I never actually got down and done it, basically.
Okay, if you want to write a book, Ed, because the reason I've never written a book is because I left school at 15, as you know. My father died when I was very young. I went straight down to steelworks. Later in life, I went to college, got all these qualifications, went into the hotel industry. But in 1975, when I was 15, I had to go out to work because my mother needed money. She got half my pay packet. So I'm not capable of writing my own book. My grammar and everything is not good enough. But if you want to write a book, I can put you in touch with somebody. Very, very good. I'm not going to advertise it here. After the stream, I'll mention it to you. And if you want to go further with it, then you know he's an educated guy and he'll do all that for you. Okay.
Yeah. I think I'm pretty nifty when it comes to to the writing stuff. I think what it is, it's actually the time you say. And now I've got a lot more time on my hands. But then again, like I've got a couple of YouTube channels though, so they take a bit of time.
Don't you find with YouTube? I mean, don't you find it just takes up so much of your time?
Can do, yeah.
I mean, I when I started, I didn't make any money on YouTube for 18 months, but I had a real passion for it. I did it because it was my hobby. I don't like football and even Grand Prix, cricket, rugby. I don't know. I'm a bit weird like that. I don't like any sports, so I have to have something else to fill my time. And obviously, I do make money on YouTube, but you know yourself, Ed, you're not going to get rich, or you're not going to buy a Lamborghini working on YouTube unless you're one of these you know, mega stars like what's his name, RuPaul, is it, or you know the guy I mean?
Jake Paul, yeah.
Jake Paul, yeah. I mean, yeah, people like that, they do make millions on YouTube, but there's very few of them people around. People like you and I, we get beer money. You know,
something I would mention to you, Peter, though. Another thing, when we're talking about retirement, say if I was to retire in a certain area, let's say I was to pick Pattaya, you know, if I was to you know, retire in Pattaya, what would happen to my YouTube channel then? Because my YouTube channel is based on me traveling around to other places and other countries. I mean, I
but
don't
you
think
don't have to do that.
it would be the same if I plonked myself in Pattaya and then made, you know, videos from you know, made videos from Pattaya, because there's so many Pattaya vloggers anyway. You know, I'm not.
Yeah, well, you've just endorsed what I've been saying for months and months and months, because when people said to me, why don't you base yourself in Pattaya? Oh, I'm saying Pattaya now, Pattaya, I call it. Why don't you base yourself? And I think exactly the same as you. I've said to people, I'm going to base myself in Bangkok because I can branch out. I can go to Hue Hin, I can go to Pattaya, wherever I want to go. But Bangkok is where I need to be for my use. I don't particularly want to base myself in Bangkok. The air's not clean. It's expensive. I'd rather live in Hue Hin or Jumtien. But the thing is, I've got to be in Bangkok because of my YouTube channel. And like you've rightly said, I've had people say, why don't you go down to Pattaya, base yourself in Pattaya? There's a lot of YouTubers in Pattaya, a lot. And some of them are very, very good. Some are okay, but there's a lot of good YouTubers in Pattaya. I watched one yesterday. I've never seen him before. And I'm not saying that, just saying this. I can't remember his name. I told Franco about him. Very good. He's only been going a year. He's got about 60,000 subscribers. But I couldn't bring anything to the table. What am I going to do if I go down to Pattaya? Am I going to walk down Soi 6 with a selfie stick and say, here I am, and the bars are open? People are sick of that. Absolutely sick of it. They want to see, you know.
Same things. Funny enough, you know, under normal circumstances, I know I was in Pattaya, you know, for a lot longer this time than I normally would be. But Pattaya is actually a place where I actually don't really make, under normal circumstances, make videos anymore. I make them from other places. Pattaya is a place where to go to rest, because Pattaya is a red light district. It's basically a red light district. I mean, what can you do going? You can't point cameras at people around them. And also the hidden vloggers, these surreptitious vloggers, they do it. They do it, and they do it very, very well. But really, I mean, it's I just don't make videos because it's all being done. So I like to sporadically visit Pattaya, have a little bit of fun there for a couple of weeks, and then go somewhere else and make videos from other places. You see, so you know, I don't know what I do with retirement. I don't know what's happened to my YouTube channel, to be honest with you.
It depends who your audience is and what you do. I mean, you know, I've got this label of being a monger now, even though I'm married, and I'm not. I'm really not, honestly, guys. And the thing is, I've done what I've had to do to keep my channel alive while I've been stuck in the UK for 2 years. You know, the luxury that all these other guys have had in Thailand. They say, well, you know, there's not much going on. Everything's closed. I'm running out of content. But the bottom line is, they are in Thailand, the country they're making movies about. Whereas I'm stuck in the bottom of my garden for 2 years thinking, well, what can I do? Now, luckily, I've had stories sent in. I've done the same as you, Ed. Top 10 things I love about Thailand. Top 10 things I hate about, all the normal sort of bits and pieces. But I think there's a lot I can develop when I go out to Thailand. When I actually live there, I think there's a lot I can do without emulating other people, copying other people. I don't want to walk around Soy Cowboy with a selfie stick. On the other side of the coin, I don't want to do sunsets on beaches. I just don't think that would go down on my channel. But I understand where you're coming from. You travel, you want to go to all these different countries. That's why I said to you, you know, if I'm based in Bangkok, I can go to the Philippines, I can go to Vietnam, I can go to these places. And it's, you know, although the channel is called Thailand Bound, it will just show people other areas, other things to do. And if they go to Pattaya for a month or Bangkok for a month, they might want to go to Cambodia for a week and then Vietnam for a week. You know?
You've carved your own quite unique niche, and you've done it very, very professionally and very, very well over the last couple of years. I did tell you this, but I messaged you on Facebook, but I did say, didn't you? I was actually in Soi 7 in Bangkok, and some American guy started chatting me. He recognized me from YouTube, and And he was a really, really nice guy. I had to drink, but a really, really nice guy. And he mentioned some of the YouTubers he watched. He says, but the one that I never, ever miss is Peter Thailand Bound. I never miss an episode of that. And he lives out there. He was just, you know, he loves your channel, and he just religiously watches you every week.
I think you bumped into my dad, did you?
What's that?
I think you bumped into my dad, did you?
No. His name was John, and he was a really, really nice guy. But when he said the one that I never ever miss, I mean, I thought, you know, that's a real fan.
Yeah. Just on this health insurance, I just want to answer a couple of questions that I've let slip. With the health insurance, people wanted to know the cost of it. I won't go into the in depth of it, but just really, really quick, what I did to reduce the cost. I'm not going to have outpatients. And the reason I'm not going to have outpatients is because it reduces the premium by about 30%. And when outpatients, you're talking about, you know, if you get a stomach upset, you go to the pharmacy, they give you some antibiotics, or a local clinic, you're talking 1,800 baht. If you fall off your motorbike and they put you in plaster and you've got to go back 6 times, how much does it cost to cut the plaster off? You know, it is a little bit of a gamble I've taken, but I'm not having any outpatients. I'm just covering the real heavy duty stuff, you know, heart attacks, cancer, all that sort of stuff. And the other thing I've opted to do, I've opted to pay the first £2,500. Now that might seem like a lot of money. £2,500 is a lot of money, but worst case scenario, I can do it. But if I don't have any insurance and I get hit with, for instance, a 20,000 bill, I couldn't do it. So I'm not having no outpatients. I'm having no, I pay the first £2,500. But I'm absolutely covered for everything to the maximum. There's no limits on anything.
That's good. That's good.
Somebody else mentioned when you get to 65, the insurance premiums rocket through the sky. They don't rocket through they go up a little bit. I've seen the table of prices, even with Pacific Cross. There are increases, but they're reasonable increases. They don't shoot through the sky, especially if you're healthy.
Yeah. Well, it's good. It's good to know that. It's good to know. I think 1,200 a year is quite reasonable, really. That's quite reasonable.
It depends what sort of budget you're on. But like somebody said, I don't want to speak about the deceased, but somebody did say earlier, Kevin Thailand, he didn't have any insurance, and I don't need to say anything more than that. How's that beer going down there, Ed?
It's actually quite nice. It goes down very, very smooth and very quickly. A lot of people love John Smith. You know, I'm okay. It's, you know, I don't love it, but it's very, very easy to drink.
There's some beers that I drink, but I can only drink one of them. Like lager, I can drink 3 or 4 cans of a night, and you know, I'll enjoy it. But there's some drinks like, you know, Speckled Hen. You drink Speckled Hen, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. But I had one last night, but I can only drink 1 bottle of Speckled Hen, because if I try a second one, it feels sickly. I like Harvey's Bristol. Sorry, go ahead.
I've nipped into Wetherspoons a couple of times recently of an afternoon for a pint, and they do some lovely, lovely cheap beers. Oh, I've forgotten the names of them, but they, you know, even for £2.19 for a pint, bloody good stuff. They do some lovely beers. Lovely.
I can't remember the last time I was in a pub in the UK. I think the last time I was in a pub in the UK, I went to get an all-day breakfast.
Yeah.
I don't go out at all in the UK.
I don't blame you. You're not missing much. Missing much.
And another drink I like to have, but again, I can only have one now and again. I can't drink 2 glasses of it. It's a bit of a girl's blouse drink, but I like a Harvey's Bristol Cream, the sherry.
I do.
You like that as well, yeah? Sherry, yeah? But I can only have I'll get a glass and pour maybe that much. And after that, it's beautiful. It goes down really nice. It's room temperature. It's got a real fruity taste to it. And but after the first one, if I try a second one, it's gone. It doesn't work. And any kind of heavy drink like a brown ale, Newcastle brown ale, one is great. After one, that's it. I can't do a second one.
One that I've never really understood. I used to drink quite a lot of QC, sherry, QC.
I know, yeah.
But amazing how many perceive that as an alcoholic's drink, a plonky's drink.
Like White Lightning.
Whenever I brought out a bottle of Harvey's, QC, people thought, "My God, are you an alcoholic? That's an alcoholic's drink." Really? You know, I wasn't aware of that. I haven't drunk it since.
My turn to go to the toilet now, so you'll have to. I'm not going to get a beer. I just need to go to the loo.
Okay, here we go. Andrew Hammond. Have we got to Andrew Hammond? Yeah, that's correct. Your book is now available worldwide. Taxi, John Paul, Taxi to Line. We meet again in the streams. Let's see. Ben Leonard, that's 2,500 per claim. They separate the claims per issue. McLaren F1 race. Vodka is very easy to drink. I've never really had a taste for vodka personally. Never really had a taste personally. I like brandy. I like whiskey now and again. I like rum. But vodka is not really for me. Naughty boy, I spent 2 weeks in a private hospital with extreme seafood poisoning. The cost without any insurance was only 19,000 baht. I don't see insurance in need unless you're over 60. You know, it's still worth having. You know, if you get like Peter was saying, he referred to it as the real heavy, juicy stuff, heart attacks, cancer. You do need to prepare for the worst. Martin Ryder, a lot of travel insurance only covers local hospitals. So if you're in a poor country, expect it to pay. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. There you go. So I've gone through a few of these. Edward Butler says, Eddie, you've forgotten the Bogart quote. I gave up drinking once. It was the worst afternoon of my entire life. Humphrey Bogart. I actually thought that was George Best who said that. I thought it
was George Best as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I've just gone in. My wife's making me chicken and I forgot what it is already. Bamboo shoots, chicken and bamboo shoots.
Yeah.
She said 5:30, so I've got 15 minutes or so. And I've got to feed the dog as well, so we won't be able to go over today. That's good.
Okay.
Right. Paul Hoskins says chocolate milk with rum with a vindaloo. Chocolate milk with rum. Well, you're talking about what's that white bottle with the palm trees on it? Every time I read it, Paul Hoskins.
Malibu.
That's it, Malibu. Do you remember everybody used to make?
Yeah, Malibu's nice. Yeah, the rum, coconut rum. Paul Hoskins, chocolate milk with rum. No, this caused a problem for me during my travels because I had a habit of buying a nice little bottle of Sangsum rum, which is very, very nice. But I also like a nice chocolate milk out of the 7-Eleven. And I started making my own version of Bailey's or, that sort of stuff. It was a killer because what I had a habit of doing very, very late at night, it becomes quite addictive. You pour yourself a nice cold glass of chocolate rum. A nice cold glass of chocolate milk. And then pour a generous amount of Sangsum rum in there. Give it a shake. And it was lovely. The problem is it was going down too well. I was actually going through the whole bottle of chocolate milk and the whole bottle of rum and waking up with the most appalling hangover the following morning. I had to stop myself from doing it. I had to stop buying the chocolate milk. It became a nightmare.
Yeah, there's some drinks that just go down too easily, aren't they?
Absolutely,
like the sherry. I once started drinking white wine because somebody said, stop the beer, just drink white wine, you'll lose the weight. But the problem was, when you have a wine, you're supposed to sip it and a glass should last an hour or so, shouldn't it? Yeah. I was drinking it like I was drinking beer. The glass was kind of twice the size of a wine glass and I was chucking it down. And after 2 or 3 of them, I was pissed, totally.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Only in Thailand, George Best just won a pile of money at the casino and had Miss World sat on his bed. The waiter brought the champagne and said to George, "Where did it all go wrong?" Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I've heard that before. Good quote, that good quote, that one. Yeah. What was it? Another George Best one that I liked a lot. When he apparently went bankrupt at one time, didn't he? He said most of my. He said most of my money went on fast cars, fast women, and booze. The rest I just squandered.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with George Best, what can you say? I don't want to say anything bad, but what kind of turned me off him a little bit was, okay, he drank too much. He lived in the fast lane. He made a lot of mistakes like a lot of people do. Nobody's perfect. He got cirrhosis of the liver, but he had a second chance like most people wouldn't have. They replaced his liver. And he had a get out of jail card and he went back and he did it again, and somebody else could have had that liver and lived. You know.
I heard that. I have heard that criticism of George Best. Yeah, I've heard it said before. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that liver that he had, because they're very, you know, it's really hard for people to get a liver transplant. Somebody else could have had that and gone on to live a very healthy, productive life. They give it to George Best because of who he was, and he just carried on drinking and he ruined that liver as well, and obviously ended up dying young. Right, Andrew. And now, hang on, what was the other one I had up there? I didn't. Somebody said mixing alcohol and milk products is dangerous. I haven't heard that. Have you?
I haven't heard that, but it does give it a very, very bad. It goes down too easily, and it. Well, Bailey's has got cream, isn't it? In it, hasn't it? It's got cream in it somewhere.
Yeah. Here's one. Somebody asked me this before. Somebody in America said, "Can you guys show some video outside in the UK to show your UK life?" Yeah. The only problem with that, Rick, I guess you're in America or somewhere like that. I've had a couple of Americans. They actually wrote to me and said, "Look, you know, we Americans love all that shit." That's what he said. And, you know, I've got some real quaint villages around here, the cottages with thatched roofs, you know, straw as roofs, you know, some beautiful countryside around here. We've got a viaduct that was built by the Victorians, which goes on for, you know, I don't know how long it is, but it's, you know, lots, big old viaduct. There's some great stuff around here. But the problem is the majority of my viewers are from the UK. Well, saying that, actually my biggest viewing audience is from America, funny enough. So I might do one. I've just kind of had my bubble burst when I did that Grafton Underwood one, the airfield one. But yeah, you know, some people outside of the UK, they do want to see, you know, some of the stuff we've got here in the UK. But there are a lot of people doing it. There's a guy who does one in London. He walks around with a top hat, a bowler hat, and a cane, like a real traditional old British gentleman. And he does. Have you seen him, Ed? He does. He'll do certain old streets, and he'll give you the history around London. It's quite good, actually.
Yeah, Jules, his name is. I think his name is Jules. I know that one. Yeah, he's quite good. But I know some people say that, but I still think that if I personally was to do videos around villages, I think it would be a minority interest, because at the end of the day, people would want to know. They want to know about Southeast Asia, really. You know.
Yeah.
It's like there's a very good guy who teaches YouTube. He's called Roberto Blake, and one of his lines is "Know your audience." I mean, I think if I was to, you know, suddenly do, you know, British things happening in Britain, I don't think a lot of people would really be interested. You know, it's
no. But if you had a channel that started from scratch about that, and you said, right, you know, this channel is about villages, for instance, in the UK and countryside, and all you filmed was quaint villages. You did the history of certain old streets, you know, like the Holvis Road. And all that sort of thing. And that's all your channel was about. You would have an audience from around the world, but the sort of channel that I've got now and that you've got, yeah, you're right. I don't think it would pull in a whole bunch of people.
Yeah. That Jules chap who you're talking about, Jules in London, I think. I can't remember his channel name, but he's very, very professional at what he does. He's obviously worked very, very hard, and there's a bit of a team effort in there as well. There's always a bit of a team effort around these things as well. So it's but, you know, you have to work very, very hard at something like that.
Yeah. Here's a quick one here. Arthur Hay says, question, why do so many foreigners think office and factory workers in Thailand are available? Yeah, that kind of used to wind me up a little bit. You get guys who go out, they only go out to Pattaya. They don't visit Thailand as such. They think Pattaya is Thailand. They've never been anywhere else. And they seem to think every single woman in Thailand is available for a price, which absolutely isn't true. And yeah, I mean, I've seen some quite embarrassing situations where guys have kind of not offered somebody money, but they've spoken to them like, you know, they have a right to bed them, sort of thing. And you know yourself, Ed, it's not like that at all.
Yeah.
Okay, dude. Peter, I thought about what happened to you in the bar. I don't think what you did was right either. That girl is supposed to make money for her and the bar, and you made it just the bar. I don't know what he's on about. Do you?
Is it the German bar? Is he talking about?
I don't know. Well, he's obviously directed at me. Peter, I thought about what happened to you in the bar. What happened to me in the bar? I didn't say anything happened to me, did I?
The German beer house. The German beer house where you were overcharged.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think I don't think what you did was right. That girl is supposed to make money for her and the bar, and you made it just the bar. Do you understand that?
Yeah. Well. I think he was. I don't know. I thought it happened. What you think was
Well,
right?
I didn't do it out of any money because I didn't buy a lady's drinks, but I gave her the option. You know, I said, "Do you want to play pool for me? And I'll give you a good tip at the end." She said, "Yeah." So I gave her a couple of $100. I would have had to buy her 4 or 5 drinks for her to earn that. So the only person I kind of ripped off really was the bar. And I didn't really rip them off. I just didn't agree to them prices. So, you know, well, I mean, if you're there and you want to buy girls' drinks to look after the bar, then that's up to you, isn't it? But I'll say to someone, I'll give you a tip, or do you want drinks or a tip? If they say I'll take a tip, which a lot of them will, then you know that's the way to go, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Is that the same one? Dude, should they have done what they did? No, but you screwed the bar because you don't like the price of the drink. It's not a case of screwing the bar. I didn't agree to their prices. They're putting 50 baht on the price of a drink. I decided I didn't want to pay that 50 baht. It's got nothing to do with screwing the bar. I just didn't. It's like me going into a restaurant and thinking, well, I don't want to pay these prices, so I'm only going to have a starter or I'm not going to eat here. You know, they have their prices. It's up to the customer to decide whether they want to pay those prices or not. I just decided that I wasn't going to pay 50 baht more for a red wine than what the girl was paying. So I didn't screw anyone over. I just simply didn't pay. I didn't agree to that. And I gave the girl a tip instead. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. What about you, Ed?
Well, I mean, you know, obviously, you know, dude is getting into a bit of an argument with other people here. It's Boy K says, dude, so you're okay with ripping off people then, you know?
Oh, he's one of those, is he? He's having a go with everyone, is he?
Yeah.
All right. I wish I hadn't have addressed his question because he's just a guy who wants to come in here and start arguing with people. Right. Right. Quite a few guys of retirement age take a chance in Thailand of having no insurance, but have a lump of money in the bank as sort of self-insurance. Yeah. I mean, if you've got the money sitting in the bank, that's another good way to do it. You save money because you're not actually taking out insurance. Because if you're paying 1,200 a year and you have 5 years where you don't use that insurance, then yeah, about £6,000. But I don't have kind of like, you know, £100,000 to leave sitting in the bank in case I get sick. Right, okay, Ed. That's 2 hours and 20 minutes. Have you got anything going later on, or?
What I'm going to do, I'm going to get my head down for a brief while. I've got a friend coming around tonight. So my, you know, best mate comes down Sunday, and we get drunk together and talk a load of rubbish.
Oh, that's what you said to me last time when I asked for Sunday evening.
And I'm gonna do a roast dinner as well. You know, I've got one of those chickens that you actually cook in the plastic bag. And they're quite nice, really, and throw a couple of jacket potatoes. So, you know, we talk over old times. My friends are keen, very, very keen Liverpool football fans. So he needs cheering up after last night's results. He needs cheering up. So we're gonna have our Sunday night roast dinner tonight. Anyway.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I shall have a bit of Asian food. Then I'll walk my dog, and then there's a very good series on Netflix called White Teeth. I mentioned it on my stream. It's 4 episodes, and it's about. It starts off in 1974, and it's about you know, Indians and Jamaican girls and stuff who came here, and they have relationships with English people. And it's quite interesting. It goes up to 1990 something. I haven't finished, but there's some great music from the 70s, 80s, and 90s in that series. White Teeth. It's worth a visit if you can't find anything.
Is that on Netflix?
It's on Netflix. Yeah, White Teeth. Very good.
Okay, we'll have a look at that.
Yeah. Okay, so nearly 300 in. It's been not a bad stream for considering we were.
It's okay. It's been okay. Nice chat. We make a good little partnership. I'll tell you what, Peter. I'm allowed to say this on my other channel. I'm going to try and do 10 o'clock at night through the week. You know, simply because people like a live stream when they're winding down at the end of the day. I mean, and what has happened through the week at 10 o'clock? You know, you've got talk. Have you seen some of the viewing? You've got 300 people in here now. Have you seen talk radio or talk TV, what it's called nowadays? The viewing figures that they get, bloody pathetic. Even people like James Whale, I don't know if you've heard of him. They're getting tiny amounts of views on talk radio simply because they're talking rubbish. They're not really, they're dull. And another thing about talk radio, why people tune out, is that sporadically they put the adverts for all for their own radio station, and it goes on for an eternity, and it becomes a real time. I mean, the thing is, I like the idea of doing a late night TV, YouTube, live stream, simply because there's not a great deal of competition out there, really. There's not much competition.
Yeah. Just before I go, thank you for that super chat, Troy. He says, "Hey Peter, always entertaining. Any chance we could get an interview with your wife? You've got more chance of getting the Pope into a brothel in Pattaya. She wouldn't do it. She's very, very shy, and it's not something that she'd want to get him. She doesn't even look at my videos. It's just not her. But thanks very much for the super chat. And I think you've got the last one of the day. Just do one more. Andrew Hammond here. My channel is called Andrew's Real World. Okay, that's Andrew Hammond there. Yeah, he's off to Turkey soon. He's got a bit of a travel channel as well. Hasn't kind of taken off yet, but it will do, I'm sure. Okay, Ed, so are we going to do one at the end of June, do you think, when you're in another? Because we're planning to do one of these joint streams. Ed will host the next one. We'll do alternative hosting. When you host it, you've got control of this, of the chat and all the rest of it. So I said to Ed earlier, I said, look, you do the next one because you get some of the benefits as well then. But the next one would be planned for we're in the end of May now, so it would be the last Sunday afternoon of June. But you're going to be in Romania.
Yeah, Romania.
Yeah. But do you think you'll be able to?
It depends really whether I take my laptop out with it. This may sound bizarre, but on my main smartphone, I haven't actually got Facebook on there, simply because I've got Facebook on two things. One of them is this laptop, and another is my old Samsung phone. I cannot remember the passwords of Facebook to get into my my proper smartphone. I know the sound. I forget passwords and stuff. But all right.
Well, look, I'll contact you on Facebook kind of a week before it's due to go out, and you can give me your thumbs up again like you normally do. And but it's been good. I've enjoyed it today, and thanks to all you guys out there. We had just over 300 in earlier for a first time joint stream. That's not bad. And so all that's left to say is enjoy your roast dinner tonight, Ed.
Okay, cheers.
And we'll see you guys. When are you next doing a live stream, Ed?
I'll probably be on my Steady Eddie live channel. It'll probably be tomorrow night.
I might be there. I haven't got work this week.
Late tomorrow evening.
I'll be back Friday 9 p.m. for mine as usual. All right, guys. Thanks for joining Eddie and me today, and we'll catch up with you soon.